A couple of things to keep in mind when we start playing. Do you know what, actually, I'll go through this when we start playing. I'll do night one first. So, eyes on DMs, please, people.
Should we turn our cameras off?
Yep, it's night, so cams and mics off, I guess, guys.
Okay.
So
You can discuss with one another at night, actually. You don't have to be silent at night if you don't
Or
want
you can
to.
leave the mics on, yeah.
Yeah, leave your mics on. During the game, if you play this in person and everyone's got their eyes closed at night, that's almost the best opportunity to have group discussions because everyone's sat down. So
I think the only downside with it is some people have mics that are sensitive enough to pick up keystrokes, which you hear that they're chatting on Discord. I think that's why we did it in the first place. But yeah, you're right. You could just, if you want to chat now, you can chat now.
However you guys prefer to play, you crack on.
I would argue that we could go to push to talk if that was what you wanted to do. So
you guys do what you want to on that one. This is Ben's game to run, so if you want to talk at night, you talk at night.
All right.
I'll talk and mute myself occasionally.
Yeah, just mute yourself
both.
sporadically.
Yeah.
Suspiciously. Just look at the list of mutes and follow them up and down.
You're being the most suspicious
right,
again.
who's muted? Go on.
Ooh. I guess I don't have a huge amount to talk about at the moment, so... But
I hope you guys are all doing well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Will. I'm doing
Good
right.
time.
I also don't feel like it's fair to talk on the first night because no one's got information and stuff yet.
Well, we do have some information.
I'm just looking for
That's why you
background
just
to
talk shit.
Team Ronnie.
Right, Nick?
All I heard was imp right, Nick. The imp is of the right of me, Mike's the imp.
Wow. See, this is how good Nick is at this game.
I'm sorry, what?
Someone else is suspicious. That was amazing. Oh. I think it's got to be Nightmare again.
Oh,
it's going to be Amadeus. It's definitely him.
I'm betting on third time Theseus imp.
First time,
Sam. Third time. It can't be, surely.
Which isn't the answer.
I mean, whenever someone starts quoting odds, I'm like, that's a bit suspicious.
I mean, we can always act like sheep and just instantly befriend the imp from night one.
Sheep's not in this game. Damn it.
Oh no, we don't have the person living on the sun.
Oh, we don't have the sun.
His camera is gloriously orange.
It is gloriously orange.
Is it
Ronnie,
Geordie Shore?
I've added around 10 different places, so
Oh my
just to
goodness
entertain
me.
you. Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Take us on a tour of somewhere you've been on holiday or something. Just put it in the background.
Xavier, have you caught up with Drag Race UK yet?
No, I haven't.
He messaged me this morning asking me the exact same thing. I was like, how do you think
it's me and my girlfriend watch it together, and she would fucking cut off my balls if I would watch it. If I watch it without her. Then again, I could compete in Drag Race then probably. So hey, pluses on all sides.
We are up to date on One Division. That was fun today. But no
Yeah.
spoilers, obviously.
No.
I've got like
there are
2
people in the
episodes.
chat
Don't do
that are
this.
Do not
We're not saying anything.
No
don't worry.
spoils, no spoils.
We're not saying anything.
So who's been poisoned?
Me.
It's me, I'm poisoned.
If this is going to be like the absolute Hail Mary natural 20, someone poisons the fricking... Wait, Ronnie, who did you poisoned
I
Sarge, right?
poisoned
What was that
Sarge
role?
last.
That was
They were the chef, yeah.
play of the fucking game.
It's
so silly.
That was nuts.
And then there are 2 pairs of evil players.
Curse on him.
Every single suspicion
such a shot in
was
the dark
based
for
off that information.
It just mean that like once I got out, everyone who was sat next to me was just a bit shat on. Effectively.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that was actually so that just completely won that game. It was just nuts. So that was like the one solid piece of info we had.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I did kind of throw Nick and Sam under the bus a bit, but I mean,
I'm about to show my role, so anyone who doesn't want to see that, get off the stream now. Huh. Today, Michael, I will be the mayor. That's right, I need to survive to the final 3 contestants, and then I will win the game. So I'm playing almost the same character I did last time, where I don't want to reveal who I am until the end, but this time I'm going to try and do my best to reveal when I'm trying to get people on side a little earlier.
Everyone
voted
goes,
for the wrong
"Wait."
person. I voted for the wrong person. I was so upset.
I like the way in the first time that happened, it was
Good
going.
morning.
Oh, hello.
Good morning. Yeah, that got your attention. So, good morning. Unless I've screwed up, we are now in day one. If you believe you should have done something last night but didn't, it's probably because there's a little asterisk next to your name. Okay, sorry, I just got a message. Yeah, so a couple of. I'm aware that some of you have played 4 games, some of you have played 1 game. In the grand scheme of things, you're all relatively new to Blood on the Clocktower. So I'll just give you a couple of quick tips and tricks. First of all, if you're one of the top 4 roles on that role list, which you can bring up by pressing R if you like, you only get information on night 1, which was last night. That makes you a very good conversation starter. You don't have to come forward if you don't want to. But keep in mind, there is no elimination in this game. The demon can't shut you up by killing you. The demon can't stop you from getting info that you've already got. So, good guys, don't be afraid to throw yourselves under the bus to get more information. This game's all about info. At any time during the day, you can take me aside, or you can take Stan aside into a private room and ask questions. That's not suspicious. There's a lot going on here. Please don't sit there confused. Just take us aside. We'll explain anything to you. With that in mind, good luck. Have fun.
So, in contrast to last time, then, are we going to plan on being balls out aggressive?
Well,
Would anyone like to come forward as an outsider?
This can't possibly go wrong.
Please,
Yeah,
if you're recluse.
Anybody
now.
who's the recluse and say your name so we can get
No,
rid
no,
of you to begin
being a
with.
recluse ever again. No way.
I'll get the chopping block. Hold
honestly, like, if there is a recluse, there's no reason not to immediately out yourself.
Yeah, there is. You'll get
There are
killed.
plenty of reasons not to out yourself as a
No,
recluse.
but the thing is,
Well,
though,
like
if
the-
you're actually the recluse,
Yeah, but you'll screw it up for the good team if you-
townsfolk. Like, if you
No, because you can use the recluse to be able to verify good things that people suspect as good information.
But then if you hang on to it later and you're already
Yeah. Oh, no,
that just makes you look really suspicious. So it's better to know that earlier than it's come as a surprise
So, I
later.
mean, it is still really important, guys, to know how many outsiders there are, because that means that we know if there's a Baron or not in play thereabouts, right?
Yeah.
So
we kind of want to
like,
ascertain what the 2 minions in play are. So, is anyone an outsider? Would like to come forward as an outsider? You don't have to reveal your role, but you can say you are an outsider.
is anyone a recluse, perchance? Is there anyone here? Anyone here?
I feel we've been doing a lot of work. Yeah. We've been doing a lot of work to try and discourage people from coming forward as outsiders.
I do feel like we've done that. All right. Well, okay.
So no one wants
Anyone
to do that.
have any information they wish to share today?
I am the chef, and I was informed that there are 3 pairs of evil players, which I assume means 3 evil players rather than 3 pairs, because that would be a lot of people.
So they're all next to
No,
Three
it means-
pairs of evil players.
It means it is judged in pairs. So it is 3 pairs of evil players.
And just to
What
confirm, if there are, say, there was an evil trio of Will, Viperoon, and Vanji, that would show up as 2 pairs, correct? Because they're sat next to each other in a 3.
So that's right. 3 people sat in a row is considered 2 pairs. 4 people sat in a row is considered 3 pairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is.
There has to be a recluse then.
There's a recluse who's sitting with the evil players.
Yeah.
So there's a
Or
recluse.
have we
that-
got a
Hello,
Baron?
I am the recluse.
Then why didn't you come out before?
Because information like that is why we want to do that.
Okay. Okay. If there's
Which
a
all that
recluse-
tells us is something that we now already know, that there's a recluse, and now you saying, oh yeah, guys, I was the recluse all along, just looked really dodgy.
And it puts the suspicion on you and Professor, who were the first 2 to shout up when I say I'm the recluse.
Okay.
How? We literally discussed this, like, all recluses come out now, anyone after this point is suspicious, you said nothing, and now I'm recluse, guys. Like,
Okay, I have some information that's important. I have some information that's
3
important
pairs
now.
means that they have the recluse plus 3 evil players. Have
Yeah,
to
I also actually have
Yeah.
some information that's important now. But
I
I'll
am
let Zaz
Okay.
first.
Let's go
I am
first with Vanji. Go on.
I am the empath, and I have one of my neighbors who is evil.
Ooh.
I'm
Okay.
just gonna quickly check that if I read that right. Yes, one of my neighbors is evil.
Okay.
Who said
Well,
they
it's
were the
not
chef?
me. So.
Who said they were the chef?
Both of those things can't
Me,
be,
Will.
but they can't both be
Will.
correct.
Yeah,
then.
both of those
They
can't be
both
true.
can't- Both.
If-
No, so one of them could be poisoned, or one of them could be drunk,
Or Nick
or
isn't the
both of them
recluse.
could be drunk, or either drunk or poisoned. That's what. Or they could both be correct. That's our options. Just remember, guys.
Or Vanjie could just be drunk.
True.
I think no, because if Nick is the recluse and there are 3 pairs, it means we need to have 4 in a row, including Nick, which means that everyone above Theseus and below Amadeus in the circle, on that information, can't be evil. And if
Can
Does that
I?
make sense?
Yeah.
I think
Ronnie?
Ronnie, did you have
Hi.
more info to give? Sorry.
I did, yeah. So, I'm a role that gets something on the first night, effectively. So I guess it doesn't really matter. Whatever if I die. Okay, sorry. Let me check. Cool. I have. I'm the investigator, and I have. Unless someone's poisoned me and done a darn diddly, which is probably given maybe how I did last time. I don't mind if you want to get me back for that. I have information that either Nick or John is the poisoner. So given what this whole pair thing is adding up to, I'd say maybe get rid of. Yeah. Unless Nick's poisoned me, in which case, well played, good sir.
we could just kill Nick.
Seems to be the popular consensus.
Either me or who is the poisoner?
John.
John.
But that doesn't
Well,
stroke with.
I will.
Okay.
I will point out that Ronnie is in the circle of evil if the chef's information is correct, so she could not be the investigator.
Okay, so we have
Keep
3
in
bits
mind,
of
guys,
information.
you don't have to all sit in here. You can
we know.
There's a lot of information being passed
But-
out.
No, we're just
Right.
firing line today.
So we have
The
3 bits
problem-
we have 3 bits of information that kind of and there are bits in there that contradict each other. So that's
There's
important.
got to be one bit that's not right because
Yeah.
it all doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Either
we need-
the chef
we need
is
to
wrong,
find-
Vanjie is wrong, or
Okay, but we need to
However,
find 2
they
of
all
these
do-
things that collide with each other. 2 of the 3 need to collide in some way, or one of them is drunk, and then in case we're extremely unlucky. So let's find the 2 that can actually we can rule out. Okay, if these 2 are correct, and the other one is definitely wrong.
Sorry, who was the chef?
However,
does it-
what? Sorry, Karen.
Does the recluse ping can the recluse ping as being evil? Because that was
Yes.
my
Yeah,
understanding.
Yes, they
Yes,
can.
yes, yes.
Recluse can ping as being evil.
Yes,
They don't
so
have
that
to,
it
but
could
they
be false information about the recluse.
Because the
That's
recluse
correct.
could have the
Which-
recluse could have pinged as good.
Well,
the recluse could
Yeah,
have pinged as good.
I as investigator find out who's a particular minion. So, I guess does that
Okay.
ping for that?
So the
So-
recluse's ability is you might register as evil and as a minion or demon, even if dead.
Cool.
So
Okay.
it's entirely possible that a recluse could register as a minion to an investigator, assuming everyone's
Cool.
telling the truth.
Thank you.
okay.
So could one of the 2 people be a minion and the other person not be evil?
Correct.
Oh jeez.
They could both be good actually because of the recluses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
like,
saying.
that-
Yeah.
So if
Well-
what Nick is saying is true, and he is the recluse, then that could be a double
Yeah.
negative.
It could be.
I mean,
but
we
also-
have.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I mean, as far as people who've had suspicion thrown on them, it's Nick. Though there's recluse being in there as a potential bug in the ointment. There's John also who could be the poisoner, and Vanjie has said potentially myself or Viperoon are also potentially evil.
Is there any reason we shouldn't just kill Nick?
I was gonna say that.
If he's the
he's recluse-
recluse,
Yeah.
do we not just murder him?
Yes,
Right?
and I will wait until nominations open to explain why.
It's worst case scenario, we just lose the recluse, whereas we've
Yeah,
got
we
2
just-
separate pieces of evidence that themselves point
From
that
our
there might be.
games,
Who was
we've
the
just
chef
noticed,
again?
like,
And we did.
I-
We did sort of go over
I'm
last
a
time. What
From
might
our
be
games,
worthwhile.
They
we've
put- they-
basically
they just-
realised that the townsfolk need to be more bloodthirsty because the
Sorry,
slow-paced
who
game
was the
has
chef?
typically favoured the
Will.
evil for our group.
I am the chef. Also, just to avoid confusion, because I think Viperoon is also called Will. So
Yeah.
I am the Will who is the chef. Just
Okay,
to
thank you.
clarify.
Yeah, there's a lot of crosstalk.
Okay, so Viper and Theseus. So if Vanjie has kind of come up that one of you guys are evil, anything you want to do to talk
I am
about that?
townsfolk, but I'm not revealing my role.
Watch him be the monk again. It'll be so funny.
I'm in a very
Imagine.
I'm in a very similar situation.
Oh really?
But I will happily talk with Vanjie in a side room and explain who I am.
Can I come
Go to
too?
the abattoir, please.
Am I invited?
No. No.
No, fuck off.
Brilliant.
I guess. I didn't want to go anyway. I'm happy here, you guys. Fine. Oh, Ben's gone as well.
Amadeus,
Oh.
can I talk to you in the abandoned warehouse, please?
You can do, yes.
Going.
Engelbert.
This is nice, isn't it?
Engelbert and Ronnie,
Yeah.
could I talk to you guys in the church cemetery?
Yep.
Me.
Who?
Oh, hello.
Hello there. Wait.
I have no idea. Wait, where did he want us to go? Oh, wait, hello. Cool.
Yeah, that's the right
Hello.
place. I guess we can put
Cool.
our cameras back on. Okay.
Okay.
So
Hey,
I need.
hey.
Okay, I'm just sorry. I'm just fixing my stream every time. Every time I have to change the thing. There we go.
Is it really a stream if you don't have stream errors?
It's not so much an error. It's just a pain in the ass. Right. Is that working? Okay. So I need to. I need to have you guys persuade me that I should be trusting both of you. Do you think you can do
Okay.
that?
Why?
Because I have a
Why?
role that's
Why is
quite...
that? Why aren't you?
Because
Why aren't you
I've got a lot more to
persuading
lose by
us
telling
that
you
we should trust
what
you?
I'm playing than presumably you will have to lose.
I
Okay.
don't see why.
Well, if
I have
Because you
Engelbert's
could
same
also
reaction.
just be scouting out who to kill.
well, if you if you don't want to trust me, it's fine. Just go back to the main room. That's absolutely totally
Okay.
fine.
Well, I mean, if I came forward, said like pretty quickly, said I was the investigator because I know if I die, it's whatever, right? I mean, there is a fat chance that if Nick is the poisoner and he's not the recluse, he's just poisoned me because I poisoned everyone last time. But it was either him or John, and I mean, I don't know what to say then other than I am the investigator, and I did come forward and say that pretty quickly because I knew it had nothing to lose by saying it, unless I obviously have been poisoned by one of them, which would be pretty funny and would be what I did to Sarge last time.
But
But
do,
yeah,
do you have a role that's going to be particularly detrimental if it's known? Because again, I could just talk to Ronnie if you prefer.
Yes, my role is better unknown
Okay, no, that's fine.
at the moment,
Like,
so
I'll
I
just-
shall
Yeah.
trip into the main room.
Okay.
Catch you guys on the flip side.
Sure. Okay.
I don't know about you, Count, but there are a lot of people who seem to be flagging up roles as ones that play later, and I'm not sure if there's that many.
No, that's definitely not. Not everyone is telling the truth there.
No.
So
Yeah.
The way you
Go
presented
on.
maybe want to trust you, and I'm also the way I've heard you speak truth before. Like it seemed to fit. So either you're doing a great
Thanks for
job.
always believing me and me, Count.
Wait, who's this turning up?
Hello.
Not me. I'm just nosy.
Okay.
Oh, no worries.
So Ronnie, like from previous games, I believe the way which you presented there as being someone who's telling the truth. So the mistake I made in the previous game was I didn't try and get anyone on side, because just like you said, there's a lot of people choosing roles which are a late game here, and I'm one of them because I'm the mayor.
Right. Okay. Wait. Hold on. This is the second time you've been the mayor, dude.
No, it's not. It's the first time I've ever.
Oh,
been
it's
the mayor.
not.
No, I was
Oh,
the
really? Okay.
Ravenskeeper last time. I did a terrible job of getting executed, and no one
I'll
believed
never
me.
forget the first game. The first game we played, you were the drunk, but you also kept getting poisoned.
Yeah, that was really stupid. I don't even know if it's supposed to work that way. But yeah, that was really
Okay.
weird.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
yes,
I mean, I would have to agree with you on the fact that a lot of people are saying it's very easy to use the excuse, "Oh, I'm a late game role," which obviously people don't want to get themselves killed, yada yada. But it's almost like I think it was very bold of Xavier to come forward and say he was the empath. And given that there are quite a couple roles and quite a couple of us, I don't believe all of them are as late game as they say they are.
no. Well, like, given that, so from what I've read, the mayor, if we have 3 people surviving, like at the point where everyone else is dead, then we will just win. And also, I will occasionally get not killed by the demon when they try and kill me, which I presume it will, and then that death gets passed on to someone else. It's a little confusing.
Yeah, if you die at night, another player might die instead.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, if you die, on another player might die instead. I don't know.
Ask me questions if you want. I'm right here.
How's that determined?
So when it says might, it's storyteller's discretion.
But then, who is the person chosen? Is that random, or is that?
That's also storyteller's discretion, but you can learn something from it usually. Because here's the thing, right? Let's say hypothetically you are the mayor,
Sure.
and you're attacked at night, and I choose to kill an already spent librarian, right? Then in that situation, I'm thinking, good, they're having a really rough time here. They need some help. I'm going to keep the mayor alive. I'm going to kill the librarian. Alternatively, if you've if you, the mayor, have told everyone that you're the mayor and gone, "Ha, come at me, evil team," I'll probably let you die because that's too powerful, too powerful. So the storyteller is like the storyteller's bound by the rules, but there's also a lot of dungeon master in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, what I'm trying to do here is, I figure if I can get. Because Ronnie maybe... I'm a little hazy on everybody else, but what Ronnie did made me think, okay, this is a weird way to go if you're the bad guy, just because it doesn't seem like it kind of gains you a huge amount. But, I mean, I could be wrong. Like, if you're doing a great job if you're a bad guy, by the way, Ronnie. Just want to say that.
No, I couldn't bluff it twice. I mean, I was having such a hard time already last time. No, I mean, having played the poisoner before, I know it's very easy to be like, oh, my roll just comes in late, and then by the time it's late game, you've already got enough information to say what you want to say. I don't know what the rest of them are going to do, but I have a feeling that if they don't kill off Nick today, it's a mistake.
Yes, it doesn't seem like there's a huge amount of reason for keeping Nick alive as a choice, because either he's telling the truth, in which case he's screwing up the calculations for everything, or he's not telling the truth, in which case he still needs to die.
We all kind of decided as a group last time that the recluse just needs to die first, and it was suspicious of me that he didn't come forward first and say it. Hello.
Hello, Professor. Oh,
Goodbye.
Let's sneak in.
I think I'm going to open nomination shortly, guys, so if you want to finish up with chat and head on.
Okay, so
cool,
yeah.
No worries, thank you.
Like, at this point, I think it's going to be a case of trying to find at least one more person who seems like they're pretty clean to try and bring into the circle of trust here. Because as long as I can avoid getting nailed out by being executed, and I probably will play pretty quietly to try and fly below the radar and not get noticed. Because I don't have any information.
No, thank you for trusting me, yeah. I mean, I had nothing to lose. I was just like, cool, I got these 2 pings, that's it, I can die now, it's whatever.
Yeah, well, the game feels very different now that we're, actually got some information to work with, because we can actually start arguing with people properly, as opposed to just
Yeah, because now this is the most information I think we've had. Right, cool, let's go back in, and then I will talk to you tomorrow once I guess we gain stuff up. I don't know, you just call me in whenever. Cool.
Basically running messages between the 2 minions, and they were never all 3 in the same place at the same time, so I think we've got to be a bit more sort of mindful about who's meeting who, but when, and see if you can then construct something from that. I don't think evils are going to be daft enough to all just go, hey, let's all sit in one room together.
No, but I think they will have. I think at least 2 evil people will have met up tonight, because otherwise there's no line up. And the fact that I haven't met up with anyone.
Yeah, but what I will also say is I've only met it with Vanjie, who was pinged me as evil. So, that's I'm not being to talk to anybody.
Also, just as an aside, Stan dragged everyone apart from.
Sorry.
Hello. Sorry. Hello. There's 14 of us in here, so it's going to happen. I just want to say nominations are open. You don't have to nominate straight away if you don't want to. By all means, keep discussing, keep sharing. But please do stay in this room, and I will accept nominations the moment someone says them.
I would like to nominate Will.
Okay, is that Nick?
Yep.
Nick nominates Will. Nick,
why?
Tell us why you want to kill Will.
From me, as no one came in and outed themselves as an outsider apart from ourselves, we're assuming that there is a recluse and a drunk in play. So we kind of want to verify the chef information that came through, and we're hoping that there's an undertaker who is somewhere hiding in the dark. We know from the past games that we're not bloodthirsty enough, and this is why evil wins. So we need to execute tonight, and I believe that should either be Will or myself. And I think verifying Will's information is better than wasting a vote to kill me.
All right, Will, your defense, please.
Yeah, I'm the chef. If you think it's necessary to execute me in order to verify information, that's fine.
Okay, does anyone have any pertinent info before we start the vote?
No.
Cool. Right, I like to do fast votes, so you've got 1.5 seconds between players, so get your hands up nice and early. Here we go.
Also, it helps the butler if you get your hand up early.
If there is one.
If there is one.
Nick's just outed himself as the butler.
No, I'm the recluse.
6 votes is enough.
Oops. Oh, okay.
All right, 9 votes on Will. 9 is, of course, enough. It can still be beaten, though. Do we have any other nominations?
I want to downvote that because I just want to vote for Nick, but I guess it's not going to happen because we're not going to get enough votes.
No, it makes more sense to leave Nick for later. If we can trust Nick, then we can just get that out of the way later.
Do we actually even know?
Do you want to put your camera on?
Oh, sorry. Do we actually even know there is a gravekeeper though?
We don't.
We don't. We're hoping.
However, I don't think you can fault Nick's logic on this one. I think it's a slam dunk. You either kill Will or you kill Nick tonight. And I think if, depending on the outcome of next night, we can then decide whether or not Nick's actually been a stealth evil playing everybody the whole time.
Sure. I mean, how much are we losing? Because Nick's still putting a target on his back, right? So, like, that I don't mind killing the next round. This makes some sense. Like, actually, we're not getting any more information out of Will, and potentially we get more information from him dying, and we need to start off faster because either way people die this night from the imp, so it makes sense to me.
So we're only going to get more information. In that case, then
I will bring the day to a close in 3, 2, 1. Will is executed and dies. Stan, should we move down to the old mill so that we can talk this time?
Okay.
That's scary.
Chaos! Get rid of those cameras, boys and girls.
It's not nighttime. As the storyteller, the killer.
It's been Ben all along.
It's the weird game mode where you have to kill the storyteller.
I would leave your cameras off because when you get a message,
leave cameras off. Just think, honestly, I would just like unmute when you want to talk, just because obviously you can hear key clacks and stuff like that from some people if you've been DM'd.
Hey teams, don't want to come over for a sleepover. I promise not to murder you.
Well, buddy, we're in lockdown. This has been socially distanced meetings. I can't agree to that.
We can bubble. I live alone. So
yeah, let's happen. Okay, that's fine.
So thank God you're the monk, so you can protect us when the sleepover.
What is this meme of?
So a monk inviting us all for a sleepover. Don't trust him.
Oh, actually, I've only played twice, and once I was the imp, and the other time I was actually the monk. So
Saga wants to let us know that he's the Undertaker, so that's good news.
Damn, he's good.
He's so good.
Nice.
The special boy. Okay, so yeah, this has been kind of an interesting game so far. We've got a lot of information, so I've revealed to Ronnie that I am the mayor. If I die immediately, then that's a fairly strong indication that Ronnie might not have been telling the truth. We'll see how that goes. But I got the impression from the way that she presented that she, like, either she's very good or, I mean, too good for me to figure out, or she's a good person. There's a lot of stuff being thrown around, and I think we haven't quite got all of the information we maybe expect to be getting at this point in proceedings. We'll find out soon if there is an Undertaker, but the only way they're going to be able to communicate that information is if they reveal themselves as the Undertaker. So if that happens, they'll either have to do it to a select group of people, and I don't think we've got a group of trustable people yet. Or if they reveal themselves as the Undertaker, and then we
knowing that you can press R to bring up the list has just completely changed my board.
I know.
I don't have to keep tabbing out.
It's a whole new game.
I don't have to go back to the.
That's ridiculous! Oh, that's so nice.
It's like
just to finish what I was saying. If the Undertaker reveals themselves next time, they'll be able to say who it was. They'll be able to say who Chef was, and I think also. Oh wait, I can use what they're talking about. Undertaker execution. So they can learn who the Chef was, learn who Will was rather, and also we can execute someone new, so they can find out who they are as well. Yeah, it's incredible. Like, that dude has so many more friends than I'll ever have. Yeah, it's really nice. It's just the board game evening, isn't it, down the shop, which, doesn't happen anymore. Do we actually want to talk about the game at some point? I think it's about to. Interesting. So I was trying to figure this out. Does the Gravekeeper reveal themselves at this point that we can execute another person and find out 2 people? But then what was the point of killing Will then? Why would they do that at this point, though? Yeah, but... I guess so. It does. Is that really worth it, though? Okay. Who's that going to a different room? Nick the Recluse? This was Bungie's strategy last time around, which is to try and put as much disinformation into the game as possible. We're just talking about your Schly shenanigans. One of your neighbours. I thought you got both of them before. Oh no, it's one.
Corresponds to how many of their living neighbors are evil. So in the hypothetical scenario where Vanjie is the empath, Vanjie has had the same living neighbors 2 nights in a row.
Sure.
And he's pinged at least one.
And he's pinged one both times.
Okay, so that means there has to be someone evil on that side, basically.
Unless
Vanjie is once again poisoned or drunk.
Unless he's been poisoned twice or drunk, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's just lying.
Can I ask a question, Ben? Would a drunk, for example, with an empath, would that information shift? Like, imagine I'm drunk, and the next night I get, oh, now you get 2 pings, and the next, is that something that happens, or does the game decide, no, you got 1 piece of bad information as the drunk, or like, it doesn't matter, but that piece of misinformation will carry on throughout the game?
So when it basically. It's at the discretion of the storyteller. But the storyteller's job, basically, if you've done a good job as a storyteller, the game goes down to the wire. Because unlike many games, Blood on the Clocktower isn't about conserving lives. It's about the game begins and you get to a point where there is the final day of the game and the good team needs to have gathered enough information in that period of time. So, as a storyteller, it's in my interests to make a drunk or poisoned player's false information consistent. Because my job in the early game is to help out evil, because evil always start the game losing.
So, do you think there's like a drunk in play?
Yes.
Possibly. Yeah, recluse plus drunk would make sense for the outside.
Yeah. Too much conflicting info for them not to be drunk.
It is either
Don't think
it is either a drunk is in play. It is either a drunk is in play, or there is a saint in play, and they are being very quiet.
Yeah, which would make some sense as well, but that seems unlikely. I think drunk would make potential sense, especially considering some of the info seemed to clash with itself.
Isn't it smart to kill me off now? If there
Yes.
is a grave cube?
Yes, it is.
I think that the empath claim may be drunk because I don't see. I mean,
okay.
yes,
Well,
the
hang on.
same person could have been poisoned twice, but it doesn't seem entirely likely.
Banshee has been the only person
saying
who's
that would once again put the sus on you, John, Professor, and Ronnie. So
Yeah.
you sure you want to make that sort of claim?
Yeah, and I also want
Be
to
that
call
as it
out,
may, I know what I am.
I also want to call out as well that we were already pretty weirded out by the chef's claim of 3 evil pairs, which made very little sense.
I don't think that would be
unless there was-
something.
And that's also not necessarily the case because if the empath is drunk, that means the person flagging up the other side therefore could be poisoning themselves.
Yeah, that's true enough, I suppose. No, I
I'm just so
agree with
big
that.
brain, and I don't have the brain for it.
Banshee has been the only person who's currently outed themselves as a relevant role which has ongoing information, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it would make sense for them to be poisoned if it wasn't going to be completely random.
That is true.
But in that case, would their information have been changed unless they were poisoned luckily first night? But that's a fairly narrow.
Could if an empath was poisoned, would the information ever not change?
Again, I think it's on the storyteller to decide.
Storyteller decide.
Yeah, poisoned and drunk players, it's storyteller's discretion. But obviously, unpoisoned players. you can't
Actually,
lie to.
maybe it's smart to. Okay, this is gonna make me look super suspicious, but maybe it's smart to not kill me off, because continue with my information might be wrong. So either they keep poisoning me, which is kind of then the poisoner, basically wasting their role, or I'm drunk and it doesn't matter anyway.
Ben, can I just drag you down to the abattoir again quickly?
Sure.
Are we not just
Sounds
killing?
pretty dangerous.
Are we not just killing Nick?
Hang on, Ben is what? Ben is which character? Sorry, Ben is
storyteller.
Okay, storyteller. Okay, cool. Okay. I don't think it was. Okay, man, who is this person talking with who? Let's keep notes.
Is there any reason we're not killing off Nick at this point?
No.
No.
If we have nothing better to do tonight, yes, kill me. If we have some information.
So what other information have we got other than Vanjie pinging up someone again?
So the 4 people, at least in my mind, who have currently been relatively sus is Nick, who said I'm the recluse, which is obviously someone who kind of throws off a lot of readings. John, who Ronnie has said either Nick or John is the poisoner. Recluse being in play makes things a little complicated. Myself and Viperoon, who have all been from Vanjie, who's claimed we're the empath. I suppose you could put Vanjie in there if you don't trust the empath being there as well. But those are the 4, at least in my mind, that have been most sus.
If we put some trust in there being an Undertaker in the game, if we kill Nick, at least then someone knows whether Will was the chef or not, and also whether Nick was the recluse, and whether that ping on the poisoner was true or not, right?
I think it's worth saying.
I think if we're operating under that principle, it would make more sense to kill the empath claim, because not only do we still continue to get information after they die, but the Undertaker, it's more valuable to them if they can verify the empath as opposed to the recluse.
We still don't know if there even is a grave keeper, though.
We don't exactly. No one's come forward, and it would be a little bit bold.
I might have been double poisoned though.
Yeah, but nobody's ever going to come forward as Gravedigger.
Yeah, but we're charging down a particular road with no idea that's even going to get us anywhere. Whereas we know if we take out Nick, we're at least accomplishing something.
And I will also say that the empath is someone who can give out, as long as they are the empath, consistent information.
Yeah,
so you kill someone.
We lose nothing.
I think we'll just double check that with Ben, but as far as I know, is Engelbert and Nick have gone to chat, by the way. So
that's the thing. Why I I think it might be smart actually to not kill me off. Once again, this does make me suspicious, but it's because
You
as
get
I
more
said,
information potentially.
Yeah, we get more information, or they just keep poisoning me, which is great because we're kind of nullifying the poison. Because we're not going off of my information. We're continuously going with the logic that I might be wrong, I might be drunk. So if they want to keep poisoning me just to make that happen, fine.
So all I will say is, I think a really important question is a really important question is who do we want to verify? Right, because we can take a shot in the dark, but who do we want to verify right now? Because that should be our goal.
I think verifying Nick is probably the smartest choice.
Well, that's an option. I will also say that of the people who have pinged evil potentially. So these are the weighted answers. These are the kind of options which are weighted, at least with a little bit more fit. Yes.
Sure. Just like for the benefit of the group, how exactly would you verify Nick?
There's still the idea that the gravekeeper's
I think we're hoping there's a gravekeeper,
Well, that's
right?
kind of my point. We don't know there is.
But even if there is, does that verify?
Because they could lie.
No, but that verifies there's at least some misinformation and potential.
Well,
as
but we
to
don't
why...
know whether the Undertaker could be lying at that point.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to give you about 4 or 5 minutes, and then I'm going to open nominations. So get your private chats in now if you want to.
Just a very quick question. If the drunk is taken out of play in this round, does that mean then it's not an issue in the game moving forward?
No, they still. We don't. Do we just?
don't get to
If
learn.
they're found
That's
out to be the drunk
Undertaker.
by the Undertaker, then we know that they might be wrong.
Right.
One thing to note very quickly: with all of the information that has been going around, if we assume that all of it is correct, which it can't be, someone's lying. Amadeus and Will are both completely clean in all iterations of the information.
Yeah.
But that's that means that we're likely going to die.
Have fun being murdered!
And also Engelbert, I believe, should also be clean.
No, because it could be Nick,
Count.
Mike, John, Engelbert in a 4-way line.
Can you come to the abattoir real quick?
Baddies.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Hello.
Hello, friend. I've noticed something very suspicious, and and the thing is, everyone's kind of a bit suspicious at the moment. When Zav came forward in that last round and basically said, "You can kill me off." Now he's obviously saying, "Maybe don't kill me off." But I noticed that the two people who stepped in to defend him were actually Theseus and Viperoon.
Interesting.
And something I guess that's interesting as well is I think it's Viperoon who's just said that Will and Amadeus are supposedly clean. Now, I can understand why you might want to say that about Will, but I'd say to say that about Amadeus is a bit... No!
I noticed that the same logic he could use for Amadeus is he didn't point out me, who's got the same, like me, you, like have got the same amount of things in terms of like they haven't been pointed out as potentially evil. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I thought you're literally the only person I trust at the minute. Because if Will's claim of saying that there's 3 pairs of evil people would be correct, then the only thing I can think of is it's either Professor, Nick, Mike, and John, or it's Nick, Mike, John, and Engelbert. And I'm inclined to say, on that stance alone, regardless of everything else, that might be true because then you've got Nick pinging as a recluse. If John's the poisoner, then you've got Mike and Engelbert on either side, and that's 3 pairs.
I could see that.
But then the other guys on the...
Engelbert seemed kind of sketch when they came in here before.
He did, yeah. So that's why I would be inclined to say it's almost those 4, if the 3 pairs thing is to be true. If it verifies that that his information about the 3 pairs is correct, I would say it's those 4. I think it would be very interesting to watch what happens because I would incline if it's not those 3, if it's not those 4, and it's if it's someone on the left side, then that would have to mean that like either Will's information is wrong and potentially Viper, Theseus, and Vanjie are trying to cover for each other. But I really don't know why they would go ahead and say that Amadeus is clean when that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Will would be lying just because it's such a weird lie and such a
and I think if he was actually the Emperor minion, it's very bold to say that information on the first night. So I think maybe he is correct. Like that means that he still could be a drunk and he still could be, or he could genuinely be telling the truth. But I think if his information comes out to be true, if there is actually an Undertaker in game and it does turn out that he is Chef, then I would be inclined to say it's Nick, Mike, John, and Engelbert.
Well, what about the idea of trying to get Amadeus on side? Because he seems like he's probably outside the range of being potentially evil.
Yeah, and I mean, he's in a group with Mike, Nick, and Professor at the moment. Which
I think he's a bit of a swing vote, and that's why.
Yeah.
Mike, Nick, and Professor. Oh, jeez, that's a group.
Yeah, that's I literally just flagged those three up. Christ, okay. Yeah, that to me seems a bit.
I think it would make sense if those guys were an evil conglomerate. Like, it's a bit bold to, if that were the case, for all of them to try and dogpile the one person. But I suppose it's easier to swing someone around if you've got people backing each other up.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if anyone dies tonight, because I was waiting for someone to die last night and then no one did, but I feel like someone will definitely die today. If they don't again, I'm going to genuinely be like, what the fuck? But yeah, there's something's amiss here.
So I could have been targeted as the mayor. No, that's right. Someone else would have died.
Yeah, someone else would have died if they tried to kill you.
So either no one's going to ever come forward as a soldier.
No. So either they tried to get a soldier, the monk defended someone, or they just didn't kill anyone.
The logic behind the you didn't kill anyone stuff just seemed completely insane to me.
No, I think they would have tried to go for someone. That's a bit. They've definitely either
Everyone
someone's
who
been
tried to
defended
come
by
up
a monk,
with the
or...
logic for that, I was like, I'm immediately very suspicious of you because you're trying to justify something that makes no sense at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still pretty sus of Vanjie because he's acting kind of the same way he did before, which is just kind of like supporting stuff which is a little bit weird, but...
Yeah, right now I don't trust any of them. I only trust you.
Oh boy.
I just solidly don't believe that apart from...
The fact that I'm not dead, it gives me a fairly reasonable reason to trust you.
Yeah, if one of us dies, then they've got an eye on us. Come on, Ben.
I'm going to open nominations very shortly.
Alright, let's get back in.
Cool. Thank you.
It's not the end of the world.
Losing a recluse isn't the end of all things. John is... Have you claimed anything?
I haven't claimed the role. I don't want to speak out on my role. If I'm going to die, I just want to die without my role being out there, if that makes sense.
Just going to go grab these guys.
Okay. That's fair enough.
Just because then at least
not to make things difficult for you, John, because actually I'm aware my head's on the block and that works.
Yeah,
too,
no, I completely get that.
The reasoning is
twice.
Yeah.
But do bear in mind that Nick could have been pinged as the was it the poisoner?
Yeah, he could have been, exactly. He could be lying about being the recluse. That's actually
Nominations. I also can be the recluse and ping as the poisoner.
Hello, I heard my name.
Yeah, and then
guys,
guys,
just listen to Ben for a second, please.
I was just saying nominations are open. I assumed you all heard me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have now.
So team, it's basically a case of Nick and John are the only two who have been pinged multiple times. Is there value to keeping Nick alive any longer?
Probably
or John who's being kind of potentially pinged as the poisoner.
This is the thing. The thing with Nick is that we know he is claiming recluse. So at best, at top level, he's recluse, which is not something that's going to help us any further.
No.
And anything below that is lying, or it can't be drunk because he's an outsider. But like the very peak level of him right now, and no offense, Nick, is that he's useless to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think whatever happens, whichever way.
The alternate version is, obviously for John who got pinged as poisoner. The peak level is we get rid of a minion. It's a bold shot, but it is a shot and it's a weighted shot. So
absolutely, I think whichever way you slice it, we have to execute someone now because the fact that Evils didn't manage to hit anyone last night, I think it puts the ball back in Town's court. And we need to take some action.
John, you said that you were an important town role, right? Did you say that? Or?
No, I didn't say I was important, but
okay. In that case, John, please nominate me.
I nominate Amadeus.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a bajillion messages from people. I run a Blood Bowl league, and apparently some.
Oh, do you?
Oh, nice.
I used to play that a lot back in the day.
Some Skaven-related crisis is taking place.
When is it not?
Yeah, I don't know why I'm nominating Amadeus. I just got asked to, so.
Sorry, is that Professor?
That's
John. Yeah, Amadeus asked me to nominate him for some reason, so I'm just giving him the floor.
Is this John? Sorry, say your name.
That's me, that's John.
That's John.
John, okay, John, nominate Amadeus. I got there in the end. All right, John, if you can, tell us why you've nominated Amadeus.
He seems to want to commit suicide, and I'm all about pro-choice.
Wait a second.
And
wait.
Sorry, anything? Do you want to say anything more, or?
No, not particularly.
Okay, Amadeus.
He should be dead because I'm the virgin.
I would like to nominate John.
Well, hang on. No, we have to go through this first.
We need to do the vote. So,
Sorry, you're absolutely right.
So 2 chances now. Either I'm poisoned or I'm drunk. Those are 2 different options, but
That's
John
3 pings.
should be. Well, this is effectively a 3rd ping against John. So that's pretty sus now. So I would suggest not voting on me and instead voting on John.
Yeah, that sounds fair. That's
I'm not following the logic here. What's going on?
I'm the
Amadeus
virgin.
is the
First
virgin.
time I'm nominated, if you are a townsfolk, you immediately die. So that means that either. So that means John is most likely a minion or a DM.
Unless you're lying about being a virgin.
I suppose you could be an outsider, maybe.
By all the information we currently have, Amadeus and the Count are like the only clean people.
And that's what I needed to do that this round because I'm likely to die this night.
The Count isn't necessarily clean. It could be Nick,
no, he's not.
Ronnie.
Yeah, we're making quite a lot of assumptions
Run
here.
this vote first, guys, because we're kind of beyond the scope of whether or not we should kill Amadeus now. So,
Gotcha.
vote coming. 6 required.
Let's check who's voting for me.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said
Let
that.
me do it.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
I thought about putting my hand up.
Wow.
Guys, hello. 2 people are not in their seats. Engelbert and Vanji, you're not in your seats.
Wait,
so
how
you
am
wouldn't
I?
be able to vote if you wanted to.
Oh, okay, but okay, I
you
didn't
go.
change
I
anything.
wasn't
How am I not in my
anyway.
seat?
Right, so, nomination's still open. 1 is not enough.
I would like to nominate John.
Yeah.
Okay, was that Amadeus?
No, that was Nick.
If you do me a favour and just say your name, because I don't know your voices,
That's
obviously. So, Nick nominates John. Nick, state your case.
3 pings.
Okay, John?
Yeah, I don't have a defense, to be honest.
I
I may have forgotten that the Virgin was a thing.
Yeah, I thought that was. I was like, I didn't understand what was going on there.
Do you know what, John? You convinced me.
either this is big brain and 400 IQ move, and he deserves to win, or well played. Either way, it's a good move from him.
9 votes is enough. John on the block. Do we have any other nominations today? Well, sounds like it's a dead set. Bringing the day to a close in 3, 2, 1. All right, John is executed and dies. Everyone goes to sleep. The game continues. Let's jump down.
So glad
that was considering you refused to vote when you were the imp on saying I will not nominate the Virgin.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So anyway, I mean that effectively clears me as clean, but I guess I'll die.
Unless I mean the fact
that unless you were lying about being the Virgin.
So can I just see what that potentially means at this point? That likely means that Will is not the drunk as the chef, or well, I suppose he still could be, but it's less likely now.
Wait, sorry, I just want to clear before we move anything forward. Is there actually anything to show that Amadeus is actually the Virgin?
Yeah, he might be the drunk, but yeah.
Well, could you just
So I will say that I have some information about where the drunk may possibly be.
Okay.
I don't wish to share that information currently. Okay. But
I mean, we all have information on where the drunk might be, based just on information people are profiting.
Considering this empty wine glass next to me, I know exactly where the drunk is right now.
I think we all realize the fact that John didn't give any defense whatsoever.
Yeah, regardless of however you slice it, I think that, if nothing else, almost entirely confirms Amadeus.
So we might have a poisoner out. Okay.
Well, if that, I will be interested, Vanji, to know whether your information changes tonight.
If Ronnie was correct and pinged the poisoner, it could even be that John isn't the poisoner and that I pinged the poisoner.
That's true.
And John could be something else. So we can't even confirm that the poisoner is out.
I mean, the thing is, it's how statistically likely is that? I was having this conversation.
Very statistically likely, because it's a good piece of information for the storyteller to give to.
I was a little bit worried that we got so much information where it seemed to lock down people so very early on that we might end up just winning the game almost straight away.
But there's all. But my point being that in a game, I have yet to be in a version of this game where some information hasn't been mildly suspect. Like the first time we played with an empath, it was a drunk who thought they were the empath who got poisoned, so they sometimes got the right information.
Yeah.
I bullshit an entire way through a game pretending to be the empath giving wrong information. Like there is just this opportunity.
Just to clarify, Theseus, so Ben said at the start of this, I'm not sure everyone was in here, if you are poisoned and drunk at the same time, it does not mean you will get the right information.
Okay,
no,
so that was just wrong.
No, they don't cancel. Yeah, I figured.
But you might get
two negatives doesn't equal a positive.
You get
No, but
double
it's
wrong
up to-
information.
But it's up to the discretion of the storyteller to change the
Nice
information
philosophy
he was
there,
giving
Mike.
you.
Yeah,
Correct,
That completely threw me off the idea that he could just, like, apparently the storyteller could just make it work any way they want to, because that's one of my bugbears of the game. Is that it's
you get information from a completely different game. You get someone's bodyguard, godfather, or arsonist.
What could happen if you're a poison drunk, I guess, is that if you're a poison drunk empath, you get 1 ping, then you get 2 pings or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
which makes the game so hard to track.
Is that there've been no pings on me right now.
It's a thing that that's what makes it so difficult in this game. That if you have wrong information, this information might change into something that is equally wrong, but it changes. The fact that it changes makes it so difficult sometimes.
Yeah, well,
I think something as well that's almost as important as identifying who's evil is identifying individuals who you can absolutely 100% trust. And I think we're at a point where you can as good as say that about Amadeus.
I don't know if this is helpful for anyone, but I've just realised if you press V, you get the nomination history and you can see who voted for who.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's...
wow!
I only know because I just
changing
pressed
my
V by accident.
Stop
and
changing
just
my
came
life.
up. By the way, if you press the V key on the website, it will bring up the nomination history and who voted for who.
Oh, now that is interesting.
That's so useful.
Viperoom, buddy, there's some interesting
Also, for those who are streaming, you can press G to hide all the information on your board.
Oh,
yes.
Count, let's go.
Wow, I'm seriously impressed with this website because if you press R, you have the rules, but you also see who you pinged in those possible rules.
And if you press
that's
N,
really nice.
you get the night order.
I'm seriously
Oh,
impressed.
let's go. Can you imagine we had this information from the beginning?
Wait, why is this not written anywhere on this site then?
If you press the cog,
Because
it's all up there. If you click through the different things in the cog, it's in there.
We're just like monkeys
does
receiving. We're monkeys who receiving a computer with all the information we need to survive. We're like,
This is the monkeys throwing the stick at the obelisk in 2001.
together strong.
on a completely side note, Xavier, I like how your backgrounds have been changing. I appreciate that you've just been sat in a lake this entire time.
Yeah, I like to entertain other people.
Go for a bit of a swim, you know?
So.
It's good time.
Yeah, when
Sorry, go on.
when they were like, "Oh, Vanji, you're not in your seat," I'm like, "Yes, because he's sat in a lake. It's just in the water. He's taking a midnight swim."
Sorry for interrupting you. I will say that
No, it's okay,
tomorrow,
go on.
I think it's a good time to cash in as the Undertaker and say this is the information I've got if you're alive still. Like,
there's even one in the game. Can you imagine there's not one this entire time?
I feel like there
It's a
isn't
good time
one.
to cash in.
I think there is.
There is a chance.
I don't think that if there was an Undertaker that they should come out still at this point, because I think
it's
we can be
really
pretty confident that we killed an evil last night.
Would
Yeah,
you
but-
like to
And
hear a
then
fun
what?
fact?
And then what exactly day one was, who got X'd, isn't necessarily important at this point. So they would effectively be coming out with no information we don't already know.
John, I'm a little bit upset that since you basically just outed yourself as evil, you didn't try the whole Amadeus isn't the virgin defense. Because as far as I can tell, there is nothing showing that is the case. All it is we just take it on faith that looks. Because if it's anything else, you just claim to be the virgin and then get.
I really enjoy that in the nomination history. It's like nominator John, nominee Amadeus, 1 vote Viperoon. It's just so funny. No, because there is 6 on like loads on every night. It's just like a whole.
Get rid. That's all I'm saying.
Look,
but
all I'm saying is, as his older brother, I should have voted for that one too, and I failed in my role.
So it is once again another good morning because there were once again no deaths in the night.
What?
Oh, wow.
Nick,
Hey,
what
this
you got in
imp
your
is
mouth?
rubbish.
What's he got in his mouth?
Hang on, video's not on.
Is that a giant cigar?
Nick is godfather confirmed.
Seems pretty sus.
How much are we trusting the chef? Because if the chef is trustworthy, and we assume John is evil because he was like, you know what, it's a fair cop, clap him in irons, then Mike is definitely evil as well.
Yeah.
I don't think
I'm gonna come out now. One sec, guys. Important information. I'm the Undertaker. Will was the chef, and John was the poisoner. So now we have no more doubtful information.
Unless Will was poisoned by John on night 1.
Amadeus, can I talk to you in the abattoir?
Yes.
Well, no. So Will's the poisoner. Sorry, Will is the chef. So we can. Sorry, was drunk. Will was the drunk.
Oh, Will was the drunk, right?
Will was the drunk and John was the poisoner.
That's a very
that
different
changes
story.
everything.
Very different.
Yes. Sorry.
Someone needs to tell those.
Maybe
Can I
I
get
was
the
might be the
count?
drunk too.
Oh.
Yeah. So Will's the drunk. John's the poisoner. So there's no more flip-flopping information around.
Okay, so we can't trust the 3 pairs of people anymore.
No, we cannot.
Can
No,
I
just
get
completely
Amadeus,
ignore
the
3
Count,
pairs.
Ronnie, and Amadeus in the church cemetery?
Well, Amadeus isn't here right now.
Yeah, he's with Nick.
Well, I can leave him a
with
message
Nick.
if you want.
Okay.
So
Amadeus, you're wanted in the.
You're wanted in the church.
First.
I've been pinged around all over the
Hello. So, Will, I respect that play you did so much that either you deserve to win as bad or you deserve to win as evil.
Wait,
Sorry, as
who are
good.
you talking?
Sorry, to
Who are you-
Amadeus. Amadeus right now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Go on.
So I think, pretty sure, I would trust Ronnie being the investigator. I think Amadeus is definitely the virgin.
Wait,
I
why
don't
is-
know about Nick.
Sorry, I feel
Burgers.
like I'm being a broken record here, because as much as I believe that Amadeus is probably the virgin, I don't think there's any evidence that
No,
is
there's
actually
not any
the case.
evidence.
No, there isn't.
No.
There isn't. Because obviously the only way to prove that was if someone nominated me and they died. There's also a chance that I was poisoned on that. So I said it as soon as it came through in terms of nominations. Like, there is a chance I'm drunk. There's a chance I'm poisoned. Now with Engelbert saying that Will was drunk.
We have confirmation that Will was the one that got poisoned.
Assuming we can trust his information, then...
Oh, sorry, no. We had confirmation that Will was the one who was drunk. My mistake.
Yeah, Will was drunk,
Yeah.
John was poisoner, according
Well,
to
we have
Engelbert.
4 pings against John,
That's terrible.
right? We've had 4 pings against John, which is almost impossible for him to not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Engelbert just came forward as the Undertaker and said that he was the poisoner.
That's something that is suspicious. As in, he might be 100% true, but it might also be that, okay, Will is probably the drunk, and Engelbert, either he's the actual Undertaker, or he is evil, and what he's doing right now is very smart, saying, yeah, John was a poisoner. Will's information, we know that he knows that he's a drunk, because it doesn't coincide with what he know where his fellow bad people are, what his fellow evil persons are. So he says, yeah. So now I do 2 good things. So hey, I'm confirmed the Undertaker, and later on I might, change your role up with someone else. That might be the case. Although I actually think he's the Undertaker. I think
me and
is one of the 2 is evil. I think my information is correct, but I'm not sure.
Sorry, what was that?
One of my neighbors is evil, and I'm pretty sure that information is correct.
There seems like there's 2 things here. So either if we go off the fact that Zav, your information is wrong, then it would mean that if it could be this play from Engelbert where he is evil and he says, "Oh, Will is the drunk," and that's just to put off Will's information of there being 3 pairs. That would effectively clear Engelbert, John, Mike, and Nick. Because if there is to believe that there's 3 pairs, me and Kat were saying that it would either have to be Engelbert down to Nick or John down to Professor. So if that's a play from him to try and get the suspicion off him, that would be a good way to do it. Because effectively what he's saying there is that he's saying, I'm clean, Will's information is wrong, and that would clear him and Mike. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
I want to make sure I've caught up on...
Ronnie and Count, you guys talked yesterday, right? What were you guys talking about then?
Oh, yesterday's in
We were basically trying to come up with whose information was right and wrong. And again, it's just several placed theories that only come into effect if they get verified. So obviously the only thing stopping that information being true was, I guess, the other half of that is that Engelbert is the Undertaker. Will was the drunk, which means that his information is completely wrong. So there could just be no pairs, and then that would actually that would verify Zab's information is correct. So there probably is one of them sitting next.
So what was so we had the chef information to go for the right hand side evil conglomerate.
Yeah.
What other information pointed towards those guys?
Ronnie's saying that Nick or
John was a poisoner, and it turned and Engelbert has basically just confirmed that John was. So we think
some suspicion on Engelbert as opposed to they could also be the spy and using that information. That's another thing we could do.
By the way, I think one of my neighbors, as I said, is evil, but I think the other one is the monk. I think either Viper or Thesis is the monk.
Oh yes,
just defending you.
Well, no, he's protecting someone continuously.
It's a bit suspicious that no one's died yet.
Yeah.
I'm the whole thing with Engelbert potentially being a spy. I thought that was kind of interesting that he brought out the Undertaker stuff immediately after everyone was saying that the Undertaker shouldn't reveal themselves.
Shouldn't come forward.
I said it would be a good time to cash in.
Yeah, you said it would be, and then Mike said it wouldn't.
I thought there were more voices saying against it.
So if the monk is in the game, there's a good chance they don't die tomorrow night, which is important. But then the question is, do we want to execute? Is there someone that we want to execute? Is it worth is it worth execute? Well, things are no one else has come out as an outsider. So I'm looking at the recluse and I'm saying, like, actually...
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any reason not to kill Nick at this point.
There's not a good reason to kill Nick. We've pretty much confirmed he's the recluse, because no one else...
I don't know why he's still alive.
No, I say, it's not a good reason to not kill him.
I mean, sure, because... Okay, we cannot kill Nick. Sorry, we can kill Nick here, right? But then we're definitely killing off a good guy. Because we're fairly certain that we're killing off the recluse. And since no one has come out as an as another outsider, and we kind of know we killed the drunk, or we know there's a drunk in play, meaning there isn't a Baron, so there are only two outsiders. So, I still think it's like the bad guys are Viper and Thesis, one of the two, and then Professor and Mike, I think are the two definite bad guys. So I think we have to force Professor and Mike to go. Tell me your roles. We need to know.
That would seem like a sensible thing.
It's quite late in the game, I think, for Viper and Theseus, Professor, and Mike to all have roles, because I think they're going to need to claim roles that are the same role.
Well, one of them's going to say they're the mayor, one of them's going to say they're the slayer, one might say they're the monk, another one will be the raven keeper, all of those...
What if we choose someone... Hey, Ben?
Oh, hello, Ben.
Okay.
Hello. Just listening, don't mind me.
Okay, what if we settle on someone, okay, drag those two into a room, privately tell them what their role, like, Mike drags someone into a room, okay, this is my role, Mike leaves, Professor comes into room, says this is my role, and then that person confirms, so that way they really have to pick what role they're bullshitting.
They probably already decided that, though.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem if they're both
I don't
evil.
think that actually works out.
True.
I think it might be worth executing one of Viperion or Theseus on the chance that they are evil, so we get one, and then also we get more information from Vanjie the next day. Because we've got a high likelihood of drunk being gone, high likelihood of poison being gone. Information from this point from people that get information is likely to be clean. Unless, of course, actually John wasn't the poisoner, and actually say if...
The Undertaker is wrong.
Yeah, well, we do have that line of effect from John now, that if John is not the poisoner, then Engelbert is lying and is evil.
Yeah. If so, the only thing that would flag up to me if Engelbert was evil, if he dies in the night, I would be inclined to say he was telling the truth, because I don't know what reason they'd have.
Well, I was thinking about that as well. Is that if you want to sort of cement someone's information as good, presumably as the bad guy's side, you kill them, because then it gives a lot of support, even if they are a minion. Like, you kill them, because like for the spy, they can have passed out all of that information to the imp already, therefore making themselves fairly useless. And in this case, if they say they're the Undertaker, then they die, we assume everything they said was true.
I think at this point, I think actually what we need to do is play with the weight of numbers on our side. I think that most of the time I'd agree kill the recluse early, but because we don't have consistent information going on to them, like the empath is sat next to them, something like that, I think we play with the numbers advantage. There are 10 people alive. We think we've got one of the bad guys. We're pretty much certain. So that's 2 against 8 right now. If we get 2 dead, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds to go. So we get choice of removing 4 people. If we go for Theseus, Viperoon, well, if you go for, say, Theseus and then Viperoon, and that'll clear up some information from Vanjie. and that's if you stay alive.
Well,
I would be interested to see if they kill anyone who it is, because I'm wondering after this point. If Engelbert dies, I think maybe he was the Undertaker.
Okay, yeah, and I think if
they're keeping you alive, Zav.
I think it's because
that or someone's defending you.
I think there's a monk in play, and either the monk is defending me, which is a smart move, and if we kill off Viper or Theseus, and I die as well that night, it probably means we voted out the monk.
I think the monk will reveal themselves at that point if they are doing it.
Have you heard anything from either of them, Zav?
No. I've been I think I only pulled apart 2 people, and I didn't really get any more information out of that. Besides, I know who the Raven Keeper is, by the way.
Okay.
Nominations are going to open shortly, guys.
Okay.
Can the monk protect themselves?
Oh.
No. The monk cannot protect themselves.
No, they can't.
Not yourself. Sorry. Yeah.
I still
can only be someone else. Yeah.
I really would want to spend the time before nominations trying to get some information out of the 4 remaining other people, Theseus, Viper, and Professor Mike, because...
Okay, do you want to head back then? But I think
we
play with weighted numbers and we just go ham at this point. We go ham because we've got a real numbers advantage. We've got 2 against 8.
Yeah, sure.
And I think we just go at it.
I think...
And that's why we should kill everybody.
Again, guys, I've done it again.
Nominations are open.
Okay, well, I was waiting to try and speak to people before I did this, but fuck it, I'm just going to throw it in there. I would like to nominate Viperoon. This is Nick for nominating Viperoon.
Me?
Okay, Nick, say your case.
Oh no, he's been
poisoned him!
Poisoned! Okay, let's try that again.
Choking on your own words there, Nick.
Yeah. So I would like to nominate Viperoon because, first of all, with the knowledge of Will being the drunk, assuming it's correct, as it's potentially come from multiple sources, it opens everything up. There is potential that Theseus is evil or Viperoon is evil. I would like to nominate the Viperoon to kill him off and see if Vanjie's information changes based on that. That will potentially clear Amadeus and then point the finger at Theseus if there's still a single pink, or it could be a huge coincidence and Amadeus being evil. But ideally, the information from Vanjie will change.
My defense is we already are working on the notion that Amadeus is good. Nick is the recluse, and note that he nominates me, not Theseus, to get the same information when I'm the one who brings up every night that we should probably kill Nick. I am a town role that is useful each night. I don't want to reveal who it is because I don't want to be murdered tonight. I don't really want to be murdered today either, though, if at all preferable. It's sus that Nick's decided that Theseus is not the one to go for her. And if we have no information on if we think that Will is the drunk, which involves believing Engelbert, which I'm not entirely sure what we're doing, that means that we have no information on Nick is telling the truth or not.
It's also worth noting that the behaviour that we talked about earlier, where you have one person meets different people on consecutive nights and has meetings where it looks like they could then potentially be a go-between between evils, is literally something Nick has done.
Yeah, and I haven't left this room all game.
Viperoon,
you also haven't given any information this game.
I'm a town folk useful each night.
And you haven't given any information based off that.
I think Vanjie really wants to add something here.
I think Viperoon, you really need to, if you want to live here, you really need to tell your role. I think otherwise we do vote you out.
I will be murdered in the night for this. I am the monk. I protected Amadeus twice.
Yeah.
Third game in a row you've said you're the monk.
I will say something now just in this. We currently have, we think, a 2 to 8 advantage. I think we just go ham, we murder someone each day.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
just go ham, guys.
Okay, I'm going to start the vote. 5 required.
Quiet, Alex, by the way.
No, shoot, I'm not on the thing.
All I'm saying is that, like, there's been a ping on both myself and Will. This feels like a fairly decent chance, as long as the empath can be trusted. And it's like, it's a worthy shot in the dark.
Killing the monk is a mistake. Killing the recluse is much better.
Engelbert,
there is nothing to be gained from killing me at this point. There is information to be gained from killing Will.
5 is enough. 5 votes is enough. Viperoon on the board. Engelbert, you're still out of your seat.
I would like to...
Oh shit, that was the monk.
I keep on being kicked from my seat, sorry.
That's alright. It happens.
Can I nominate...
I was going to vote innocent anyway.
Can I nominate Nick? Is that allowed?
Yeah, absolutely. Who's calling that nomination?
Viperoon is.
Okay, Viper nominates Nick. State your case.
It's much better to kill the recluse than it is to kill the monk.
Yeah.
My defense is that at this point, killing me is a literal nothing. You
And-
kill the recluse, you get confirmation through Engelbert that I was the recluse. You
Or
know,
not,
you have
or
no
not.
information from me now because the two pieces of information that have been given around me have been the poisoner and the chef, which we know we've killed off the poisoner and we know that Will is the drunk. So killing me is literally just a waste of an execution.
One thing that's also worth noting, if you can pass your minds back to corroborate my monk story, I asked Amadeus in chat surreptitiously if he was the soldier, as a joke, just to make sure that I wasn't protecting someone that was useless to protect.
Also, given the fact that literally nobody has died for 2 nights.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong piece of evidence by itself.
Yeah.
So
Who
don't
did
kill
you-
the monk.
Okay, as the monk, who did you protect?
Amadeus, both nights.
No.
Why?
I'm calling bullshit. Yeah, no.
Why did I
Why?
protect him? Because the first night we were working on a lot of information and he was the only person alive who wasn't hit by any of it. The second night was because he just killed John, and I knew that he was a I assumed he was a townsfolk in that way.
But his
I-
elimination
can
had
I,
no further effect after that initial
Yeah,
nomination.
I would rather protect a townsfolk who's useless but has a vote than
Then why kill
target
me?
Because you're
I think we're the...
I am a townsfolk with a vote.
Because
You're
you're
going
trying to
against
kill
me.
me.
Hold on, guys.
In that case, should we not nominate Vanjie? Because Vanjie's
Yeah.
literally just pointed the finger at somebody who we can 99% sure say is the monk.
Where he
No,
also,
no, he
Alright,
hasn't.
alright. We're going to do the vote because Vanjie ain't on the block here, boys and girls. So we've got 5 on Viper and 6 if you want to kill Nick. Ultimately, it's down to democracy. Let's go.
we could tie it up as 5 apiece and no one dies.
I think we have to vote this as yes, because otherwise we end up losing a monk.
I think we just nominate after someone else.
There's a party going on in someone's background.
Say someone's having a whale of a time back there. 5. It's a tie. 5 votes is a tie. No one on the block.
I want to nominate myself.
What?
Okay, Vanjie nominates
Okay.
Vanjie. State your case.
Okay, I just want some. I just want to get this out there. I don't want to die here, but if Viperune claims to be the monk and he protected Amadeus twice, there's a soldier in play, and we can 100% verify if Viperune is telling the truth if the soldier comes forward right now. That's why I'm nominating myself to get that piece of information out there.
Wait, what?
There isn't
What?
necessarily a soldier though, and if
No.
Why would the imp try and kill the same person twice if it didn't work the first night? That's what I don't understand.
I think
Well,
that is reasonable that you would probably assume that they were the soldier rather than they were being protected by the monk.
Mm-hmm.
So that is weird.
not necessarily though. But...
No.
It's
All
more
I am
likely
say-
they're the
yeah.
soldier than they're being protected by the
Unless
monk.
what they
Yeah.
tried to do was poison me the second night and then kill me if I was the soldier, get my ability to malfunction and then kill me.
But that
Make it
still
work.
seems such a work because you have to
yeah.
coordinate that
Like-
with your poisoner.
All
It
I am
also
say-
seems awkward to do that when you've come
Yeah.
out and said you're the
Yeah.
virgin.
Yeah.
I mean,
All-
it's
all-
a fair
yeah.
point for if there is a shoulder.
All I'm saying is that Vanjie's put information
can
forward
upset
saying
it.
that one of myself or Viperune is evil. At the minute, we have now ties for killing nobody, so I don't recommend necessarily killing Vanjie unless, of course, they could just be lying straight out. That is an absolute So my actual recommendation would be someone vote me. Would be someone we don't let this one go through and we vote me off.
I'd like to hear some stuff from Professor and Mike because we haven't heard very much from them at all.
Well, we're going to run the vote first, and then you can grill them to your heart's content. Here we go. 6 required.
I'll even vote for myself. There we go.
Why are you voting for yourself?
It's just funny.
It's funny.
It's funny
is-
for you how to be like. I like the way it's already Vanjie voted for Vanjie.
I nominate myself
I don't. Sorry, I don't understand. Why did you nominate yourself? Why does that?
because this way we have more time to discuss, and I really wanted that soldier information out there.
I don't think there is a soldier in play.
There is
That's
no
the
soldier.
thing. Key
Then
thing is,
Viperune
what you
is
have
lying.
done, what you have done there though, is taken away away anyone else's chance to nominate you.
No. Oh yeah, fuck. Oh whatever. Okay.
I would like to.
Wait, is that a
realised
mechanic?
Guys,
Hang on, Amadeus.
Yeah.
shush,
No one-
shush. I would like to nominate Theseus.
Okay,
Fair enough.
Amadeus. Well, I don't think I'd ever say this sentence. Amadeus nominates Theseus. Beautiful. Amadeus, preferably in music form if possible. So that's why you nominate this shipbuilder.
I heard he was.
Commit! That was admirable. That was admirable.
He was pinged by Vanjie, and we know Viprune is monkey.
Tuesday's game is musical only from now on.
Brilliant. Okay,
Sorry, just say that slightly more vigorous form. I think that we need to just go ham. We need to start executing people. We have the numbers advantage. I think we need to get one of Viprune or Theseus out today, get some more information out of Vanjie, and then, I mean, if he is, of course, playing something like the Spy and working off information, then yeah, hopefully we still catch them, tell them a bit of a fib or something like that. But I think that with Viprune claiming that role, and I think that it was quite likely those of Monk and Play were talking about that in one of the side dreams. I think that it's important that one of these guys go, and I'm going to vote for Theseus because we're currently not killing anyone.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
Theseus.
I'm honestly actually partly tempted to agree. I think both me and Viprune have been pinged. It would not be particularly helpful to my role if I died right now, but on the other hand, I understand the distinction because both of us have been pinged, and we've all talked about weighted shots. This would be a weighted shot. Take it if you want. I would still have recommended Viprune, and the fact that, and obviously with that 50-50 chance, that is definitely something. So I don't recommend it necessarily if you want to use my ability, but at the same time, I understand the decision in terms of it's a weighted shot, and both me and Will are pretty sus.
If we want to execute today, don't we basically have to go for you? Otherwise,
yeah, at this point, we basically do.
We can also kill you, Mike, or Professor,
I mean,
or Ronnie.
sure.
Those are all also people that we could throw in the firing line just to try and get information out.
Theseus, do you want to share what your if you're going to die anyway? Do you want to share what your information is?
So I don't get any information because I'm the Raven Keeper.
Oh.
He told that to me the first night as well.
He also told this information to me.
Oh, he couldn't have possibly lied to multiple people.
Well, exactly. I could have lied to multiple people, but what it does mean is I'm not going to get all that much.
Vote for him. He's outed himself now. He won't be killed by the demon if he is the Raven Keeper. So let's just do it to change Vanjie's information.
Yep.
Assuming Vanjie's telling the truth anyway. This is still the other point of this.
True.
Professor, is there a reason you're not voting for anything?
Yeah, I'm listening to people and trying to figure out what's going on, to be honest with you. I don't want to kill anybody. Everybody kills me every single time I play, and I don't want to kill anybody. I don't like it. I voted once early in the game, and I regretted it instantly, so no.
I'm particularly interested in the time that you didn't vote for John, even though they outed themselves. Was there a reason for that?
Yeah, because I just haven't been voting for people. Actually, I did try and vote for John, to be fair.
This line of reasoning doesn't make a whole lot of sense, you realise?
No.
I don't make a lot of sense as a person, to be honest with you.
Bringing the day to a close in 3, 2, 1. Alright, Theseus is executed. And of course, dies the game continues. Everyone goes to sleep.
Okay. Oh, someone just died for real.
So, I'm pretty sure the professor's basically outing themselves as a bad guy at this point, because they're just saying completely nonsensical things. We'll see how it goes. I think Theseus is probably correct. I'm, that was pretty bad. It's again, there are certain things that will sink your team, and one of those is just acting like an evil player when you're not. So you just hope that people don't act like an evil player when they are not. And that's what Professor just did, saying, my decisions don't make sense. Maybe you were just evil, you don't know what to do, so just sit him right back. I don't know. This is a fun game, though. This one's feeling a lot more winnable than the other ones felt like, where I just felt totally confused. If Ronnie turns out to be evil, I will applaud her for an incredibly well-played game. Alright, back to the group.
Plays.
It would be the obvious play. It would be the obvious play.
I don't think Viprune kills himself if he is the imp here, because that would put down the Scarlet Woman on their own, assuming that John was a correct hit.
Hey Al, just as a potential heads up, might be worth putting your game up a touch, because I've got you super.
Yeah, you're a little bit quiet.
Yeah, you're very quiet, Honeybee.
I'm not complaining, but
I think my thing got knocked. I think my thing.
Sorry.
There
you go. So we're losing you a little
sometimes.
sometimes.
Sorry.
That's fine. Sorry, the reason I am listening out for you, buddy. But
No,
there's only so much I can push it.
Okay, so how's everyone feeling about where we are right now?
I think it'll be very telling to see who dies in the night.
Reasonably good, I think.
Thank you.
So if I die, what's the scenario? Then Viperoon is suspicious, but that also might be the play the demon, the imp makes anyway to keep suspicion on Viperoon.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that if Viperoon protects, well, I mean, there's a chance that I die actually, because it's basically just trying to mind game who Viperoon's protecting, right? And I won't obviously ask.
Assuming
that.
Will is telling Viper is telling the truth. Like you can still not be pinged evil here. Like
I don't see any scenario where the monk doesn't die tonight because there's no way they can protect themselves.
Well,
and now that they've been outed,
if Will
if they die,
if
then
Will
Vanjie
lives,
gets a lot of
yeah.
information.
Like if Will lives, then something I think we vote him off. Otherwise, I'm also potentially a bit. I mean, the other option, of course,
I'm
is
also
Vanjie's
curious
been
to
lying
hear
to us.
Vanjie's
Like I
information.
pulled that strat the entire time last game, just a complete point.
If Will
no,
actually is the
no,
monk, I'm gonna laugh so
I
hard.
can only check alive players. Fuck. So
No, so that's fine. So you would basically
No,
you
it's fine,
get
it's fine.
so what you
Oh,
get
yeah,
you
perfect.
get new information.
Yeah, you'll get
No,
information.
I
on
don't.
me.
you learn about
You get,
Viper.
you get new neighbors. I think.
Yeah.
is the
Yeah,
way
so
it
you
works.
move in next to
Yeah,
the
so
account.
you'd have yeah.
Ah, okay. Oh, true.
Did we check who John was, by the way?
Yes, he was the poisoner.
Yeah.
Oh, he was the
Yeah.
Undertaker
We were
says
pretty
According
that
to
he got pinged
Undertaker.
multiple times.
According
Like, he was
to
third.
Undertaker
Yeah.
and Engelbert.
Okay, so the person who was 100% suspicious to the extent that he was, he didn't defend himself. Yes, according to the Undertaker, I am happy to say he was evil
Yes.
and is the poisoner.
Thank you, Mr. Undertaker. I appreciate it.
Well,
Though I'm
presumably-
curious,
Undertaker.
though I am curious too that if Viperoon was the monk, why he didn't protect our Undertaker that had spoken out, and also why the Undertaker isn't dead.
Because
Mm.
the
Yeah,
Undertaker
that's a
hasn't
bit
spoken
weird,
out.
yeah.
He only spoke out yesterday,
Oh, that's true. That's
and we
true,
hadn't
that's
gone to
true.
sleep
That's
since
true.
then.
That's true. No, yep.
If
So- sorry.
Viperoon actually is the monk, I'm gonna laugh so hard just for like all the memes we keep making.
Guys,
Wait, so-
what's the night order button again, so I can see?
And
Thanks.
So am I right in thinking that Engelbert should know if Theseus was lying or telling the truth now, right?
Theseus was the Ravens keeper. I just got the message through.
Sorry, who should tell if who's telling the truth?
Engelbert just
Oh,
said.
Yeah.
Let's go.
well, could I talk? One
So
more
just putting
day
that
of
out
this.
there.
One more day of this,
Wait,
and
wait,
we'll
Was
have a
confirmed
personal.
Raven Keeper there. So.
If I can just have your attention for a moment, guys.
Video
So
is
yeah,
the
one
that-
more day of this, and this will be a personal record for me. But there were no deaths in the night.
What?
Oh my god.
Oh.
What?
Okay,
I'm
That's
nailing this.
I would
crazy.
like to talk. I would like to talk to Theseus, Will, Amadeus, and Vanjie in a room.
Okay, before you go,
Before you go,
Just to confirm before anyone goes away, Theseus was the Ravens keeper.
I have two evil neighbors now.
Okay, he's lying.
Yeah,
I-
that's
Yeah, I found you.
Yeah.
Never mind.
correct.
No,
I
I
don't
know.
need to talk to you now.
Okay, then it's simple.
I know it doesn't
We
make sense.
We
It doesn't
execute
make sense.
Vanjie.
Nick,
Sure.
can I
We
talk
execute
to
Vanjie.
you
If he's evil, it comes up.
in the abattoir, should we say?
Sorry, what was Nick saying?
Count? Do you want to count? Can you come to the cemetery?
Sure. Do you want to bring anyone with us? Oh, never mind.
Apparently not.
Hello.
Oh, sorry. I heard you asked. Do we want to bring it? Do we want to?
I don't know at this point. I wasn't sure quite what you wanted to say.
Oh, okay. Well, I 100% believe you, and I think he's lying.
Yeah, no, that was a bold play on his part. There was like, okay, so you're basically just pitting yourself against someone who hasn't had any suspicion on them. So
I think
far.
it's him, and I think the reason he's not killing anyone is because it'd be suspicious because he's been talking to all of us.
Oh boy.
I absolutely think he's lying.
Yeah, no.
I don't know about Viperoon being evil or not. I still can't call that, but I'm not sure if it's Viperoon. I was 100% sure Viperoon would die or Engelbert would die. Sorry, maybe I'll go back and call Alex because I've just realised he's not in the room.
Yeah, grab him.
Cool.
Okay. Either this is the game which has gone the best for us ever, or it's...
Sorry, I didn't realize I was being asked.
No, it's okay. Sorry, we just roped you in because this is obviously lol.
Yes, okay.
I genuinely think Vanjie's lying now because they can't be drunk because we've established that Will was the
Yeah.
drunk and they can't be being poisoned if John's dead. So I think Zav is lying.
Yeah.
And I think it would
So we
have been
know- so we
I
think
think
we-
it's too suspicious for Zav to kill anyone given who he's talked to and what he said. And I think it lines up
Yeah.
perfectly for
don't-
the imp to play the empath of the
I
naughty game.
don't. I think it's like I don't know why he did that though, because I haven't even got any suspicion on me to say that it's now 2 evil players, he's saying Viperune is definitely evil, and I'm evil as well.
And the poison is already dead, we assume.
Yes.
Yes,
So
I do think it was
There's no funny stuff there. We also assume that the drunk is dead.
And let's not forget he nominated himself last round.
Actually, there's a chat. Yeah, true. Oh, that's true, actually. Okay, so Vanjie's pretty much off tonight. Question is, then we've got one last person.
It's whether we can convince everyone else that they are, but I personally think it's I think it's bull.
I think Vanjie's got to go. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's. I'm
and
surprised.
Then after that, Engelbert,
I don't know.
I've got sus on.
Oh yeah, so we know Theseus
Mike,
is definitely
I've got sus on.
Ravenskeeper. There can't even be that many passive roles left, right?
Thank you.
So we've got Mayor, Soldier, Slayer.
I'm just putting down notes for everyone.
Yeah, so Mike said that they
Fortune
were
teller?
So Mike said they were an important town role.
So if
Mike's not said very much at all.
I reckon. Well, and also I'm looking at what Mike's voting history was. Nothing. So
I think it was very suspicious that Professor wasn't voting as well. Just to say that much.
Well, also, he more or less admitted being evil, like by saying that, like his defense.
I think if there's anyone we have to take out next, it's Professor and Professor and or Xavier.
Yeah.
I think we go towards Vanjie first, and then I think.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's wrong.
The people I've still got as sus after that are actually you count because we don't have any. Again, we can't verify, so that's
Sure.
just like naturally in there.
Counts told me his, and I'm inclined to believe him given all we've spoken about.
Sure, that's why he's kind of not top tier for that. But then I'm also thinking,
No.
Professor has not didn't even vote for John.
No.
And that might just be a whatever thing. But they've also not said. Well, I know what they've said their role is. They said they were the librarian, and they said that Nick and Will were one of them was the drunk, and that would have been either one. So the recluse so the recluse would have. So that would have so that he can't show up as a drunk at that point. So that would corroborate what
that would be correct. Yeah.
So that's one thing, but also didn't vote John. So like, okay, so then Professor, I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm thinking Mike and Vanjie are probably the top 2, with Engelbert, Professor, and Callum then being left on the table. Chance that you are Ronnie, of course, because again, nothing to corroborate that yet. But saying that one of Nick or John were the poisoner, and then corroborating that with myself with the whole virgin thing, that puts you in good stead. So I'm thinking tier list right now: Vanjie, Mike. Vanjie then Mike, and we think that. I think that's kind of it. So then we think we've got the third.
I don't know. I think the Professor's done a lot to make me think that he more or less admitted it. Like him just saying he had
Professor
no reason.
more or less admitted it.
Yeah, he said he had no reason for any of the things he was doing, and I was like, that's an absurd defense.
And he's played this several times with us before now. He knows what.
I think I can extend saying what my role is to you, Amadeus, because if I then immediately die, then that's a fairly strong indication that you're evil. I'm the mayor, so we are how many off from? We're quite a long way off of my role actually.
So we've got
mattering.
9 people alive right now. Mayor has to have 3, right?
Yeah, so I don't know if my role's even going to be relevant ultimately, but I've managed to fly under the radar.
With the rate at which it's going, yeah.
Well, all the non-deaths is bizarre because I can't imagine that the evil are intentionally doing that.
I think that Viperune completely messed them up last night. Because I think what he did is he actually protected Engelbert instead of protecting... I reckon that they tried to kill Engelbert and he protected them knowing that the sus was on other people and the imp would probably not go towards the heat targets, really.
I think it makes sense to protect Engelbert. There's no point protecting you anymore since you've already used up your power at this point.
No, there was a and then it's obviously like, well, Vanjie could have died, but then, like, obviously... I think that Vanjie would have been, like, the prime candidate to kill if he were good.
Yes, I think so
that
as well.
Since he's alive, I think that's pretty... Actually, I'm going to jump into Town Square, and I'm going to ask Viperine for a quick thing, actually, if that's all right.
Are you bringing him in here?
Actually, yeah. Do you mind if I bring him in?
Yeah, go for it.
Just bring him in, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, boy. I don't know, how often...
Oh, dear!
Ben, how often do you get to kind of experience the game in this kind of way?
Yeah.
What kind of way do you mean?
Like in terms of like, you know, I guess firstly over Discord.
He's very happy.
But actually be able to jump between
Hello.
rooms and sort of listen to people.
I run.
Hi, Will.
I run the stream, so I run games over Discord
Oh, okay.
constantly,
Yeah.
all the time.
Where'd he
so
go?
he's gone. Is that enough?
No! He's not in the Town Square, so I think he's not...
No, he's in
Oh,
the
he's in the town square. Hold on.
Oh, it came
right,
back.
where did he
Yeah.
go?
I just wanted
I was
to
like, what the
know,
hell?
Hugh, are you okay disclosing who you protected last night?
Yeah, it was Engelbert because he's the
Yeah.
Right,
what's it
we
called?
had- we
that's
literally
what
were
I
like,
thought.
we
I just
think you
wanted to check
protected
were saying the
Engelbert,
same thing.
yeah.
You've had a blinder of the game unless you're lying in that case. You're also having a blinder.
If you're
I
actually
know,
the
I'm
monk, I'm
doing
gonna laugh
really
so
well.
hard.
I'm the
I'm
monk,
gonna
I'm
laugh
doing
really
really well.
hard.
So I think that leaves for me, Vanji Mike. I think that's what we're looking at.
People are.
Yeah, because if you are the monk, and I believe, and which I'm inclined to believe now, and I believe what Count is saying, then I think Vanji's lying. And because they can't be drunk and they can't be being poisoned.
Everyone in the other group is saying we're going to vote Vanji out because he now says that there are 2 bad people, which isn't true.
Yeah,
and people are also
Yeah.
sus on Nick because Vanji and Nick have been in a room together on their own as well.
That's
And
true.
we,
but,
his defense is recluse.
the reason why that isn't sus is that no one else has come out as an outsider.
No, Nick has
Someone
nothing
else
to
was
lose.
genuinely an
effectively.
outsider, and they were butler or saint. They had no reason to hide themselves at this point, and that means that I'm inclined to believe that there is no Baron and that he is the recluse. So I think it's actually Vanji and Mike.
I'm still very much towards Banji and Professor, but I can.
Okay,
Let's
so I
just kill
think
Vanji.
Professor's in the conversation, but I think
I'm
Vanji
going to
is either
open
way.
nominations very shortly, guys.
Cool. Let's hop back in then, guys.
I'm not going to tell you what it is. I really want to know what it is. now.
Okay.
Nominations are open. Carry on.
What?
Start fixing the video.
I nominate the Count.
Oh.
Okay, so Vanji.
Vanji nominates the Count.
Okay, Vanji. Tell us why you've nominated this much-loved children's TV show character.
Okay, I'm not particularly... Okay. Either there is still a poisoner in play, and it doesn't make sense. Okay. And I'm still the drunk, and then afterwards you just kill Engelbert, which might be the more likely scenario. But it's so weird that I get 2 pings right now. It doesn't make any kind of sense, so I think I'm still the drunk. I'm fairly sure I'm the drunk. So, if that's the case, kill me afterwards. And I'm not nominating myself this time for that, so...
I've got to be honest, I'm not entirely sure why you've previously pushed on someone we're 99% sure is the monk, and then again on someone who's not attracted a shred of suspicion all game.
Let's let Count have their defense if they want it.
I mean,
Yeah,
that was a fairly solid defense. I don't know why, Xavier, you would have been so much safer going for just 1 evil next to you. To go for 2 here makes it so much more provably wrong that I'm surprised. But I know that, like, with all of the non-deaths, I'm almost certain that Viperune is the monk. No one else is taking credit for being the monk.
No.
And I don't see a world in which the evil player just wastes their kills continuously. Unless this is a new strategy I have no idea about.
But then the monk didn't die, though. There's a lot of stuff going on.
I
think
would
Hans, what role are you?
Hang on, no. I think it is worth sharing the information that I don't trust, which is that the poisoner is still in play.
Oh.
The poisoner wasn't killed. That's the information I've got, but I don't know how trustworthy that is.
How?
Where does that information come
Who
from?
is the Count?
Because if Engelbert has only said that the only information we have that John was the poisoner is from Engelbert, who has no backing that he is actually the Undertaker. The only information he's given us is information that people have given before they were there. So the information he could have had from other sources.
I feel like John saying "I have no defense" was pretty good evidence.
Oh no, I think John is evil. I think John was one of the evil characters, but I don't think he was a poisoner.
Back onto the Count. The Count, what is your role?
I can't disclose that at this point.
I have a high suspicion I know what Count is.
I think I know what he is as well.
I've got a fairly high suspicion as well here, actually.
No, I will just say that I vouch for the Count. I'm pretty provably good at this. Well, not provably, but whatever.
Okay. Well, I also believe I know what the count is. But we're going to vote on him now. Here we go. 5 votes to
1 vote.
Let's have a look. Let's go count it. Let's count as we go, guys.
No Nick, you are out of your seat.
0 vote. 0 vote. 0 vote. 0 vote. 0
Speedrun, sit back down.
Okay.
0 little votes.
Oh, I gotta do it.
Oh, Nick.
Yes! Thank you, Professor. Thank you for. All right. I'd like to nominate Vanji.
Okay, who said
Nick,
that?
you're not in your sleep.
That is the count.
Nick, sit down.
The Count.
I'm sorry, I don't know who nominated Vanjie.
Sorry, the Count would like to nominate Vanjie.
Okay, the Count nominates Vanjie. Count.
I feel like we've got all of the information we need at this point. Like Viperoon, I think is pretty much cleared. I think Vanjie clears me by going for a play this bottle. I don't know why he did it, but the only explanation is that he's evil.
Okay, Vanjie.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that, Pete. I think it's the Count now, because I thought the Count wasn't evil until he really wants to kill me off here, because that for me signals that he actually is evil. It's so weird. You should have just said. You should have just said, Pete. Sure, you're being poisoned, and then okay, fine, you're the good guy. You're claiming to be the Slayer or the Mayor. That's one of the two things you're doing. So if you kill me off here, fine, because I'm thinking I'm being poisoned anyway. But keep in mind what Pete's doing. I'm gonna keep in mind what he's doing here. Only thing I'm saying. That's my defense. Welcome to my TED Talk.
Okay, 5 votes required if you wish to execute in 3, 2, 1.
I will say I would have nominated Vanjie if Count didn't. So
No, I just did it. I just did it out of spite.
Absolutely, I was going to do it if nobody else did.
3 little vods, 4 little vods, 5 little vods. Oh no,
We got enough? Good. All right.
6
I
little
don't
vods,
vote for people.
7
I
little
don't
vods.
like doing
No,
it.
Nick, why didn't
You
you
voted
vote
for.
Because
Yeah,
I
one
don't.
vote.
Because I'm
He
not
votes.
100% sold that Vanjie is evil, and if the poisoner is still in play, then there is a chance that Vanjie's being poisoned. Vanjie is throwing shade both ways and super sus with the way they're doing it. I don't understand the Count nomination at all.
No, it doesn't make sense.
But
Wait, you just said your own nomination doesn't make sense.
No, you. No.
no.
Count's
I don't
nominating me.
understand.
Count
I
nominated.
don't understand you nominating the Count. That's the, the one
okay.
I don't understand. I understand his counterclaim perfectly. I'm just not sold on it.
You could be right. You could be right for sure.
I was prepared to put Vanjie up purely on how little it made sense to put the Count up. It seemed like a desperation evil play.
Final call for nominations today. Bringing the date to a close then. 3, 2, 1. Vanjie is executed. And congratulations, everyone! You've executed Vanjie. Everyone goes to sleep.
He's done this before, he has.
I'll take it.
I'm honestly not evil, guys. Like, I think it's Engelbert now. No, I know this. Nobody's gonna
Jesus
believe
Christ,
me.
this scattergun, like...
Nobody's gonna believe me. I know, but after this game, you'll all see Engelbert play the all for a fool, and it's good that they faked the poisoner death.
Why is Engelbert evil?
Because he said John has died. Like he said,
Okay.
"Oh, the drunk is dead. The poisoner is dead."
Because he claimed he was the gravedigger, didn't he?
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's
Just
perfect
on
because he can go
personality
off.
thing, when I was the imp, I loved killing people. There is no way on earth I would let time pass without killing as many as I possibly could. I wouldn't be playing this big brain town kill each other thing. I would just be stab, 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 stab.
But isn't it very beneficial for evil when, oh yeah, the 2 roles that can make pings go iffy are now out of the game. Hey, now you can go off all the misinformation
Vanjie,
I'm giving you.
I can't help but notice that we're about to find out what Engelbert's going to get reading back on you.
Yeah, sure. He's gonna ping me as evil. I'm 100% sure that he's gonna ping me as evil, even though I'm not. And you guys have no way of confirming that. I know
There's
that.
some
So
really big brain play
just
in this game.
okay, just entertain the notion that Engelbert might be lying. Just all I'm asking, like, discuss it. I'm not saying do anything else. Just entertain that notion.
So the other thing is that obviously, if we didn't kill the poisoner and the poison's in play, but we killed another evil character who's around, right? So it's probably not Baron. So it's either one of the spy or the Scarlet Woman, one of those two, and then there's the imp, right? And if we kill,
Do they always
imp
have powers? There's no like generics minion.
Yeah, either the Baron puts 2 additional outsiders in play, which we know isn't in play because we would have had a Butler and a Saint, and at least one of those should have come forward at this point. So there's no Baron. So it has to be Scarlet Woman, Spy, or Poisoner. We're pretty confident that the Poisoner is in the game. So it's whether it's the Scarlet Woman, so the imp can kill themselves, pass it over to her, or whether it's the Spy, where they have all the information on who each of us is.
Wouldn't Spy potentially make sense given how weird the hits have been for the... I can't remember the name of the role that finds people either side.
I feel like Spy. I mean, well, the Spy wouldn't interact with that.
Spy can show as good, can't they? You might register as good in a town folk or outsider, even if dead.
Yes, but that would be not for the empath. Not likely to be the empath anyway, because of the 2 hits. If Vanjie was the empath and correct, that would be a fortune teller, which we don't appear to have in this game at this time.
Oh, also, presumably, could the Gravekeeper see Vanjie, if he was the spy, as a townsfolk who hasn't come up yet?
That would be a question for the storyteller. So
I'm waiting for the storytellers to send me the info.
I presume, right, the way it's written, because it says you might register as good and as a townfolk or outsider, even if dead. So presumably he could still be listed as a empath, even if he wasn't actually an empath.
There we go.
Which I think is a way which the game's ambiguous enough it keeps it tense to the end, even if we are getting
So I
lucky one.
nominate the Count, and suddenly, oh yeah, but Vanjie might register as good.
Well, that is the rule.
What? Okay, this is really weird. So, it's saying Vanjie was the drunk, but so I've got two the drunks.
Maybe you're drunk?
Or maybe he's poisoned.
Either I was poisoned,
and just to confirm, yes, the.
I would just like to say, guys, you're not really supposed to discuss what's going on at night if that's what you've been doing. That's kind of against the rules, because you can puzzle it out. So if I'm visiting you in the night, please don't say aloud what you're learning. Although obviously you could be lying, and really that rule is there more to stop people. Yeah, basically just don't do it. It's bad form.
Oh my god, to have your background.
No, you will be pleased to learn that we have finally had a death in the night.
Yay!
It was going to happen.
Record. Sorry about that. But the Count died in the night.
Kill surprise.
That's rogue, innit?
Okay.
That's weird.
Huh.
I don't think it's that weird.
I don't think it's that weird
Cal,
either.
what were you?
So why not?
I was the mayor.
Because as it was said when the nominations were going through, the Count is either the mayor or the Slayer, two very powerful townspeople
that is true.
roles.
One
So
second,
it's
guys,
not
just wait,
surprising that the mayor died, because we know that Viperoon was likely not defending them, defending other people.
I was the one who pointed that out, by the way, that he's the mayor of the Slayer.
Did you let anybody know that, by the way?
So, just to confirm from what we had a confirmation there that the Undertaker could see the spy as a good role.
Absolutely, any good role.
So that could be a
Does the drunk
reason
count as a good role?
That's interesting to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm really confused because I've
the drunk does count
I've
as a
been
good
given information that 2 people were the drunk. So either I got poisoned on one night or the other. So last night, so Vanjie, you were saying that your information was so crazy that you were probably the drunk.
Yeah.
But then Will's information was also so crazy, he was probably the drunk.
I think either the chef was poisoned, or you were poisoned.
Did John say there's still a poisoner in play, Nick?
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So there could be a poisoner in play still. So the Engelbert could have been poisoned that round, or he could have hit the spy, and then the spy showing up as a good roll.
Okay. So I'll put this straight out. There is a world now where basically because Vanjie was drunk, Viperoon could potentially still be evil, even if that feels unlikely. There is the big brain player that's an option there. The other thing I'm kind of being a little bit more aware of now is that Engelbert has given some slightly conflicting information, which makes him a little bit more suspicious. Even if though Mike has vouched
the
for him.
information is so stupid.
Could I speak to
an evil person wouldn't be going, "Oh, I got info that there were 2 drunks."
And before Nick
runs, dumb info for me to give.
And before Nick runs off, I'm also aware that he did meet with John, who was pretty heavily confirmed to be evil, which does seem a little bit sus. Has been throwing.
But we don't know if is anyone else an outsider.
No, I am the recluse.
Exactly.
No one else is an outsider, therefore that we're pretty sure. There can't. Just checking. There can't be multiples of one role, right?
No.
There cannot. And also, in Trouble Brewing, it is impossible for 2 people to sincerely believe they are the same role, because a drunk will be handed a role that isn't in play.
Okay, right. So that means that unless someone wants to out themselves as the butler or the saint, Nick pretty much has to be the recluse.
Yeah.
And you're shooting the townsfolk in the foot if you are. So
cool. Mike, can I talk to you in the cemetery, please?
Absolutely.
I think we need to all cards on the table. So Viperoon is claimed to be the monk, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't know the roles from Professor and from Mike.
Librarian.
We need to know those roles.
Professor said librarian.
Oh, sorry, librarian. Okay.
And
so...
Mike said another castle.
Mike said important town role, which means they're probably the Slayer at this point.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they'll be claiming to be.
I think the thing here is that I reckon that Engelbert's kosher. I think that I don't know if we're allowed to metagame in this sense, but knowing the storyteller helps the losing side means that the storyteller saying that the spy is the drunk to throw all our information into whack seems pretty like a pretty reasonable play from them.
I think that's
If we assume that John is the poisoner and that Vanjie is evil, if we make that assumption, then there's one bad person left, right?
Who would that be?
It's not me. It's not me, and I'm assuming it's not Engelbert for this to work.
That's not me either, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty good on Amadeus at this stage, unless Amadeus is clean in my eyes because either A, the demon weren't trying to kill anyone for the first 2 nights, or B, the demon was super trying to kill you the first 2 nights. Unless there's a soldier that's not speaking.
Yeah, and then
why are you defending Amadeus though?
Because the first night he was the only person I knew that was alive and definitely good, no strikes at all. And the second night, because he'd outed himself as a good person, I had no information on anyone else. Yeah. So I was going to defend the townsfolk rather than randomly throwing it somewhere else.
Are we going to get any new information for the rest of the game?
No.
Well, let's
Undertaker.
I'm pretty sure that Nick is good because again, no one else is an outsider, and if they are at this point, I think it's pretty good to assume that. It's very so Nick has to be the recluse then, because we know there's a group of drunken play. There can't be a multiple of that, which means that we have Viperoon, Amadeus, Nick as pretty much confirmed good at this point. We have 7 people left alive, so we've got So
there's 4 people who can be questionable: Ronnie, Professor, Mike, and Engelbert.
Ronnie, Professor, Mike, and Engelbert. So that's 4-3, but the game ends at... So if we have 2 people dying a day, that's 1, 2... Effectively 3 days remaining. So we've got a pretty high chance of just as long as we hit people which aren't Nick, myself, and Viper, we have a pretty good chance of just doing it by weight and numbers. But we still have to effectively... weight and numbers suggest that if we go for Engelbert, Mike, Professor, Ronnie, regardless of sus, given that the information is pretty strongly in favor of Nick, Viper, and myself, we're likely to hit someone.
What we need to do is we need Mike to walk back in here as the Slayer, point his crossbow at someone that isn't me, you, or Nick.
But if we go off numbers now, the evil might...
Nominations? Are you opening nominations this early? Oh, wow.
Well, we've been going for 2 hours and 10 minutes, and the lack of deaths means that we could be here till midnight. But if you really want a quick chat, go for it. But I'm just going to say nominations.
No. Okay, nominations.
This is a nomination, but quickly, Mike, what role are you?
I'm the fortune teller. I'll just come out with it now. It's later in the game.
Can you tell us what you've been fortune telling then?
I can indeed. Nick can verify this because I've told him. First check was Ronnie and Vanjie, which was negative. Second was Amadeus and Engelbert, which was also negative. Third, I accidentally picked Vanjie again, and then Viperoon, which came up as a yes. But having discussed that with Nick, I think that might I think that Viperoon might be my false positive. I don't think for one moment that it's a monk masquerading as a demon masquerading as a monk. It wouldn't make any sense. And then the last one was Professor and Count, which came back as no.
Oh, interesting.
So who does that leave up?
What if it's just Ronnie?
So if this is accurate, if this is accurate, then
I like the assumption that I'm that smart.
Which I 100% believe may not be accurate, and he might not be the fortune teller. But if that is accurate, then it means we have Demon and Scarlet Woman in play, and the Demon has likely killed themselves. So it's Amadeus, Engelbert, or Ronnie who are now the Demon. So
I don't think we can rule spy out.
Since you've outed that information, I believe that we should kill one of those three. And my vote would be for Ronnie, so I would like to nominate Ronnie.
Wait.
Okay, anything to add to that, Nick?
No.
Ronnie.
Hi. Apologies that I've been quite quiet. I have a horrible migraine. I mean, I gave my information on the first night, which was the ping about Nick and John flagging one of them up as a poisoner. So please don't forget that, unless I was poisoned. But I mean, there's like a lot of suspicion about who has and who hasn't been. If you want to kill me off and have Engelbert verify, it's fine. If he comes back with different information, I'll be very suspicious then. But yeah, do whatever. I mean, at this point, I guess there's no gain whether I live or die. So
this might be a good idea in that sense.
Ronnie did say that. I've got in my notes, claims investigator, Nick or John Poisoner.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Just 4 required if you wish to put Ronnie on the block. Here we go.
I think, again, it's worth just being bloodthirsty, use the weight of numbers. I think that it's worth not voting for Viper and myself or Nick. I think that we're the ones with the least weight on us.
I agree.
Of course you do.
Whoa.
Professor, no, I'm not going to ask.
5 is enough. 5-1 Ronnie.
Thanks.
Any other
You know
night?
what? On one, thanks, Professor.
I would point out here before we go any
Actually,
further
thank him.
that I shared my role with Ronnie like almost straight away, and I didn't get any negative attention for a long time. So I don't think if that would have been the case had Ronnie actually been evil.
The mayor doesn't need to die early, though. The mayor just needs to die before the final day.
True enough.
Just a quick.
I'm not sure separately though, looking at my notes of who's met who, I'm not sure Ronnie would have actually had any opportunity to pass that information on. There would have been too many people in the...
I've been in a room with Ronnie and the Count at the same time.
Oh, that's what I mean. There'd have been multiple people in the room, and we're fairly sure you're legit, so it wouldn't make sense for that to be before and where that happened.
It has almost always been you, Ronnie, Count in a room together.
It's been multiple
I've been
people.
waiting to speak to the 3 of you, and I haven't been able to do it for 3 days.
Yeah, I've been noting this stuff down because this is.
Just a quick question. Just a quick question. Like I asked you previous if you told anybody who you were, and you said no.
Sorry, who?
Count.
No, I didn't.
Can I just? I'm also like, obviously, this is where just I want to put this
Okay.
out there. If Vanjie was the drunk, then does that mean that Will got poisoned, or someone's been poisoned? What happened there? Is there still a world where we've got the trail of evil?
If Engelbert's information is correct, which it may not be, then either Will or Vanjie have to be the spy to resignate as drunk, or Engelbert has to have been poisoned on Will's death or Vanjie's death.
I think you can carry this one on through the night, unless the game's about to end, of course. So I'm going to bring the day to a close in 3.
I'd like to nominate Professor.
Okay, who said that? Sorry.
Oh wait, no, sorry, I can't. I'm dead. Never mind.
You can't. Okay, bring the day to a close in 3, 2, 1. Okay, Ronnie is executed and dies. The game continues. Once again, by all means, please do discuss the game or talk about anything, but don't say if you're getting messages from me, don't talk about that because that's against the rules.
Okay.
So
I knew somebody would try to kill me. I just knew it. I was just like,
Ronnie,
I've already
somebody to try to kill
I've
me.
already said my reasoning for killing you, which is that you had the most nonsensical explanation for what you were doing in the game that I've heard from anybody ever.
Yeah, the only time I was grateful for it was now, actually.
Sorry, the what?
No, to be honest with you, it's like I'm so new to this, and it's just like
You're
past
not
2
that
games, I got
new.
killed like that's my 3rd game. I got killed straight away, and I hated it. And I was just like, I don't want to kill nobody. I've become a literal pacifist.
I don't know. I'm extremely sus of you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I also did notice that there's a lot of attention being spent now on turning the conversation towards a completely different group of people than it was before, which is making me being a little like that seems a bit weird.
Yeah,
Agree.
I agree with that.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the idea that we would suddenly start executing all the people who've been previously trusted, like, seems like a great way to be like, oh, we just kill all of our own players.
Ronnie wasn't someone that we ever confirmed trustworthy or not. The information that we
Yeah,
gained
but they
from
pushed
Ronnie
up
was.
poisoner.
Can I make a
The
very
thing is,
wild
I
claim?
believe that Ronnie potentially pinged me as the poisoner, and John could have been the another evil that has been executed, but I'm not 100% sold on that either. There's so much bad information in this game.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah. Can I make a very weird claim here? So Amadeus is the one who's been continuously saying we need to be bloodthirsty, we need to be bloodthirsty, and Viperoon.
Because Amadeus wants to win for
yeah, but hold on, hold on. And at the same time, Viperoon has claimed to be the monk.
Hello. Yes.
At the same time, nobody has died. Or like 3 nights and nobody has died. Meaning that if you would imagine that those two are evil, and that the play is, you know what, if they kill themselves, then they never have confirmation if they killed someone. They never have any ghosts that they know are 100% good, that they can trust. And that might be a play.
I don't really follow that logic.
Yeah, it's going to look sus to me for saying this, but that logic doesn't work, I don't think.
Why?
I don't think that follows.
Well, I have a ghost who I am 100% sure is trustworthy.
Who's that then?
And it's me after I'm murdered tonight.
He's dead! Dead!
Who?
Yeah, he's dead. Okay.
I said it
Viper
would be me.
Could still be a self-kill. Could still be a self-kill. Nice background.
Okay. Engelbert, what would you like to say something here first?
Yeah.
Engelbert, would you like to say something here?
Yeah, I did. Ronnie was the investigator.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Mike, can I talk to you in the abattoir?
Absolutely.
Count, can you come to the cemetery?
Sure, why not?
Right, I know I wasn't before, but I'm very suspicious on Alex now.
Okay. What's the reason?
I know he's been in here with us the entire time, but given, I think the way that he's trying to spin it, that they should kill him, Viperoon when he was still alive, or Mike, seemed to be a very interesting take. I've also just looked at who voted for me, and given that he has been in this room with us several times, he did vote for me.
Yeah, I didn't understand the vote. Let's see, what's the vote thing? That whole thing of you, I just felt really weird.
No, so I'm immediately now suspicious of him, Nick, and potentially Mike. He's been in here with us several times, and it would make sense to me that there's if he actually is, then whatever. But I think for him to say that there's no weight to kill him, Nick, Will, or Mike, especially after his ability has already been used. Well, so he says his ability has been used. Because we didn't get any confirmation whether he was the virgin or not.
Yeah, I was really unhappy that just never seemed to get any traction. No one seemed to care. Like, as many times as I said it, no one seemed to care that there was no evidence he was actually the virgin.
Do we want to call anyone else in here? Do we want to call Viperoon and Theseus maybe?
Sure. Well, why the hell not? We could probably get more people. The conspiracy grows.
Hello.
Hello, you two. Sorry. We just me and Count were having a little chat. I just genuinely both of you's opinions because I'm inclined to believe both of you. What do you think about what's happened? Because I have a feeling that the way that they've swung it seems to be very suspicious.
So all I'm saying is I think it's quite unlikely that Nick isn't the recluse because we have to have 2 outsiders. Somebody's the drunk. Plus, at this point, someone probably has to be the recluse. I think that makes it Nick.
I actually am a bit suspicious of Alex now because he has been in this room with me, Count, and Will several times.
I also told him.
And on that last night, yes, and on that last night that we voted, he voted for me and also voted for the Count. Yet we chose to trust him. I think it was interesting how he said there's no weight to kill him, Will, or Mike, given that, Will, I believe, that's you, Viper.
He said me and Nick, not Mike.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nick, that's it.
Yeah,
that would... If I'm still kind of suspicious of Nick, so that would be...
So I'm just aware that we have got 2 outsiders, so I still think Nick's probably the recluse. I think it's very unlikely, because otherwise someone's been lying about the recluse at this point. It's a bit too late for that. Because we've got a drunk, so that's 1 outsider, and we need 1 more outsider. Who is that? It has to be Nick unless someone else.
No one's claimed to be an outsider.
So yes, I think it has to be Nick. I think Nick's clean, but I'm really sus of Mike. I think he's been pushing it, and I kind of agree. Engelbert maybe, but I think that's potentially unlikely. And yeah, potentially Amadeus, potentially Professor who've been quiet.
I think Amadeus is the cleanest of the bunch. Just in the case of before I revealed that I was the monk, I protected him 2 nights in a row, which means that he was making the decision as the demon those 2 nights in a row, either to kill himself or to attack a corpse. Right? He was making the active decision not to kill anyone else for the first 2 nights. Because I protected him twice, which means that he was always the target. And I don't know if the demon is trying to. I don't know if Alex will try and off himself immediately.
It wouldn't be a lot
twice in a row.
Like I don't know.
I think Mike's the one.
I think
yeah. I'm just saying. I think for me, I think Mike is the one that's been given. It claims to be fortune teller very late into the game. Very late to the game, and he's not really been verified as the fortune teller.
No, and I think his picks on who he's checked seems a bit suspicious.
Yeah, the most recent one seems weird that he'd recheck 2 people that were kind of as a group already.
Yeah. So Mike, I'm a bit worried about. I still think John's probably likely was evil. I think Vanjie could well have been evil. I think Mike might be it left. At least that's a decent. At least as far as again, we're taking weighted shots. That in my eyes is at least a decently weighted shot.
Mike's information has been the main thing that has thrown confusion into the mix at this point, because it's making us question everything which we previously
Well, if we I can't remember everything he said, but it seemed to line up with what everyone had said already.
He put me as sus. He put you as sus.
Okay.
But the person gets 2. So one person's the demon and one person he gets a town cloak as demon as well.
Yeah,
so I could be the false positive, or the false. I could be the false positive, but at the same time, it seems weird to have checked me at that point.
Yeah, I'll also say there is a world where Viperun has been playing the long con with the monk and killed himself finally, which is an option. I don't think it's necessarily that likely.
Yeah,
but,
dude, if you've done that, I'm going to be so impressed.
Yeah, it would have been a solid play.
Either way, I played a really impressive game.
Exactly. Either way, hands off. Yeah, exactly.
Nothing I've heard from Vanjie makes me think he's not evil.
No, it's weird.
Easily.
The thing is, he did the thing where as soon as people started turning towards him, he started going in and just giving random information, going well, maybe this is the thing, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's this person. He didn't. When I was being put sus on, and when I was nominated, I was like, "This is the fact. It's not me. I will reveal my role. This is it. Don't kill me."
Yeah. There's 5 of them alive now. Obviously
it's Mike and Professor are the 2. I think you kill Mike tonight, and then we win, or we go to bed. Engelbert dies because I'm not protecting him anymore, and then Amadeus and Nick kill Professor, hopefully, and then that's game.
If those 2 are evil,
but I think we still have to get someone to nominate Mike. I don't know. Have we got anybody who's alive? Nobody's alive in here. Nobody's alive in here.
I don't think. Stan,
nice, Stan. He's pretending he's alive.
You're not.
Stan, no! I thought you just were jumping into
I think that Amadeus is kind of on board with the plan.
Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah. So I think if we can get Mike, that'd be the call. Let's get out of here.
Right. Let's roll.
Cool.
Isn't it? It completely derails that line of thinking.
Why do you always go into rooms where I can't talk to you, Ronnie and Count? I need you.
Do you want to? Okay, let's go.
Just tell us before we go.
Nominations are open.
I don't know what I am the cleanest person in this game. I am the only one I know is a townsperson, and everyone can be sure at this point that I am a good person because I am the only outsider. I don't know who to trust alive. Mike's pinged Amadeus and Engelbert as both negative. So if he is the fortune teller, he must have been poisoned at some point because everybody alive, apart from him and me, are showing as negative.
The 2 possibilities, as far as I read it, either I was poisoned at any one point, thus any one of my results is wrong, or Viperun was actually the demon, died, and now the Scarlet Woman, if there's one out there, is the demon.
I don't know who to be sus of here out of
I think that's
Professor
more likely.
Engelbert and Amadeus.
The second option is more likely, I think.
Nick, if you could do me a solid and nominate either Professor or Mike, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I think there's more scenarios where I'm right than there are where I'm wrong.
I would like to nominate Mike. That's Amadeus nominating Mike.
Okay, Amadeus, state your case.
So I think Mike was the person who offered well, very little information in the early game, of course. Coming up the fortune teller, that's certainly something. But didn't say when they had a positive read in the other time. It's one of the few people. I mean, I think right now, I think it's Nick and myself are the two who have the most chance of being good, and I think that means that, from what I've talked to other people, Mike and Professor are the two which are most likely, in terms of that weighted shot, to go to be evil. We have 2 votes remaining, because we have 5 players, right? So we're going to lose 2 people tonight, because we're going to have 1 vote, one death by imp, and then that leaves tomorrow for 1 last vote. So I think that if we go for Mike now, that ends up giving us the best chance of success.
In my defense, I fundamentally disagree. I think leaving me alive gives us the best chance of identifying the imp, because it's becoming increasingly apparent that it's more than likely been inherited by someone else. Also, not only do I only have had to been hit by the poisoner once to completely derail everything that I've got previously, but even if that's not the case, I don't think it undermines anything that I've said so far, because of the possibility of what happened on night 3 with Viperoon. Also, I did tell Nick immediately after getting that hit on Viperoon. I asked to talk to him and told him about it.
Just a question: if there's how many players you say are going to be in play next round?
Assuming the demon kills someone tonight, we'll be down to 3, and it will be the final day.
Okay.
That's a fair execution.
Count. What's your feeling here?
I would like to again reiterate, Amadeus has not been cleared by anybody.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing showing that he is who he says he is or what he's done. This keeps feeling like this keeps getting ignored, which is a little troubling.
But there's nothing against the other way.
We can discuss Amadeus in a moment, but this is Mike's execution. It's Mike's special day. Here we go. Everyone eyes on Mike.
Are you voting in favour, or would you, if you were alive, would you vote in favour?
We need 3. We need to do this, guys. It needs to be today.
No. Mike, do me a solid, and
we need a ghost vote.
Afterwards, nominate Professor.
Alright, got 1 ghost vote. That's enough, isn't it?
Mike?
Yeah?
Afterwards, nominate Professor, and I'll vote on that.
Okay.
That sounds sus to me.
That seems pretty sus to me now.
Yeah.
That's really sus.
Exodus knows that everything he says is going to be treated as if it's told by a traitor. So he's going to...
I would like to nominate Amadeus.
So that's Nick, I believe, nominates Amadeus?
Yeah.
Alright, Nick, state your case.
I don't know anymore, but this is my sus. I think he has played us and played a fantastic game.
Okay,
He probably has.
So on my side, I think that Nick has been going into a lot of rooms with Mike, and I've been sus of Mike recently. I think that Mike has now had a chance to twist the narrative to his liking for Nick in particular, because he has been one-on-one with multiple people. I think I can be cleared by Ronnie, Count. No bad information has come up about me. I think that at this point in the game, we need to go for those weighted shots. It's weighted against me. I don't think it was in my favor, I suppose. And I think that against Mike, it's more heavy on that. Against Mike.
Just to confirm, I am heavily suspicious of Mike's information. I am not saying I trust Mike's information.
Why didn't you vote then?
I was asking Count what he would do, because he's the person I trust the most outside of myself at the moment.
Also, Amadeus, could you?
I'd like to add for context, the reason why I was communicating my information to Nick in private was partly because I didn't want to publicly out myself as storyteller to risk being poisoned overtly. And I was absolutely certain, based on what we've seen from the game so far, that if there's one person we can probably rely on, it's Nick.
I think the other thing is the fact that I didn't die for so long when Viperoon was claimed that they were protecting me also goes in my favor when I was one of the first people to out my role. Remember that too.
Sure. I don't know if Ronnie's going to agree with this.
If we go along with the theory that Viperoon might have been...
Votes happening, guys. 4 to execute, 3 to tie.
Don't tie.
Mike, still nominate.
Please don't tie.
Hang on. If we tie, then potentially we get a second night. There won't be the last night tomorrow, right?
I've got a tie for you.
No.
Oh, that's
Mike,
awful.
you
So
can
now
still
that makes me
nominate
sus of
Professor.
Professor and Mike.
Yeah, Mike, nominate Professor.
Engelbert, nominate Professor.
Yeah. No,
I'm nominating the Professor.
The tie
Engelbert, tell us why you've chosen Professor.
Because someone needs to die, and at the very least, I can confirm who he is.
Okay, Professor.
It's like, yeah, I mean, everybody kills me at some point.
Everybody dies in this game.
Yes.
But why did you vote for me and then not on the one before that? if I could also suggest
But
that
people
voting
keep
against
signing off on not voting.
that time to vote then, why vote now and tie it so nobody dies? That's super weird.
No,
Engelbert,
you
you
don't
need to
tie
vote
here.
yes as well on this.
Yeah, you need to vote. I'm 100% voting yes on this. So, and we cannot have a tie. Otherwise, Town loses anyway. So you need to vote yes on this.
Count, what were you trying to say to me earlier? I think you got drowned out.
So yeah, Amadeus keeps claiming that they've been cleared here, when again they have not been. I am not saying they are not evil, and I don't think Ronnie is either. So you keep saying that, but it's not true.
Okay, no, I'm not.
Amadeus,
but it's still.
John on night
Professor's
2.
nomination conversation you can have at night. So here we go. 4 votes to execute, 3 to tie.
I don't need to use my vote up here, do I?
Peter, camera.
No, you don't, Pete.
Oh, sorry.
No, you don't. You don't need to vote.
Yeah, if Angie votes, then we don't. No.
Okay. The professor votes themselves. Brilliant.
Okay, 6 is enough. I don't believe that you're going to muster anything more than that. So I'll bring the day to a close in 3, 2, 1. Professor is executed and dies. The game continues. Everyone goes to sleep.
Boy. Who is the last one?
Oh.
I think it's Amadeus or Mike. Because I think it's Mike.
I don't see.
What I
I
would
don't
like,
see
what
how
I would
things
like
are
to
actually
ask.
It's not me, and I want to just say I didn't push Professor then because somebody jumped in before me and did it. Anyway.
What I would like to ask is Ronnie, Count. What have you guys been talking about in rooms with Amadeus?
Well, we were talking with him because we thought we could trust him, and I guess now there's a bit of suspicious to that.
What things have been talked about? That's kind of what I'm going for here.
Do you mean from the beginning?
You've been in there at least 3 or 4 nights, so
We
yeah.
have, yeah.
a lot
Well,
of information talk.
Count approached me and Engelbert really early on and asked us about our roles, and I guess Engelbert then left. I stayed around. Count has effectively been, I guess, the one person I've trusted. So we've been talking a lot on stuff. I mean, we've been in there with Viperune as well. And
I'd imagine I don't die to now because of the vote yesterday. Now.
Amadeus did finger John on night 2. That would be a really crazy choice.
Did what to John?
Unfortunate phrasing.
Sorry, that was too delicate a term. Fingered shafted biscuit.
Oh, for God's sake. No, there was the play against John.
And that play is either hugely big brain or it's
Yeah, and I'm just so aware, like, I'm still really sus of Mike. I still think Mike is really
Mike is sus, Engelbert is sus, Amadeus is a bit less sus, but also sus. That's the problem. All 3 of the remaining people alive with me are sus.
I'm going to be honest. I would be suspicious of my own results that I'm getting. But as I said, all that needs to have happened is for me to have been poisoned once, and it completely throws everything off.
There is one person who is 100% going to die here, and it's Nick.
Mike?
Nick is just
No,
gonna die.
I'm not going to die.
No. I think you are going to die.
Died in the night.
Oh, yeah.
This is your final day. At least one of these 3 people is the demon. At least one of these 3 people is good.
Mike, who did you check last night, and what were the results?
I checked you and Amadeus, and the result was yes.
Of course it would
be.
Well, of course it would be. You shouldn't check me.
It would be on you as well.
Why would you check Nick?
That's useless information, Mike.
Might not have thought that through.
Mike is the bad guy because we knew this was going to happen, right? We saw 5 people and we've been talking about this. Amadeus, myself, and Nick were the 3 that were kosher before I got murdered, which honestly took the demon much longer than it maybe should have to kill me. We went for Mike, and Vanjie was like, "No, let's get rid of Professor instead," basically throwing his vote and his body onto another target, knowing that Professor was the other.
He did vote for that,
like
indeed.
potentially sus.
I did.
And then he pushed it through. I knew that one of Amadeus or Engelbert was going to die. And it was probably going to be Engelbert because he could have confirmed. What you now need to do is Amadeus and Nick need to kill Mike.
No,
I also want to put this out.
100% agree.
I want to put this straight out as well. Again, this is still weighted shots, but Amadeus has done more to clear himself than Mike has.
John, what was your role?
With the Virgin player earlier on that doubled up with John, who we're pretty sure was definitely evil.
John's not going to reveal his role. He is evil.
No.
He is not going to reveal his
No,
role.
John. I'm asking John. What is your role?
I'm not going to talk. I'd rather watch you guys all speak for another 30 minutes.
I don't think that there's any way that I could have revealed.
I've been saying that I'm the gravedigger the whole time. My
Yeah.
gravedigger came up with John as poisoner.
Yeah.
So unless I was poisoned,
That feels really unlikely because we can't have so many people being poisoned. I think very unlikely. So I'm there with you, Engelbert.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
at this point, I think Amadeus has done more to clear his name and has been less sus. And I think it's only been in the late game that it's been really.
Sorry,
dynamic.
what has
Whereas
Amadeus?
I think I think Amadeus has done more to clear themselves because the situation that has been crafted around them is more conducive to them being innocent. Whether or not that situation is correct or not, we don't know.
So
with my information,
why would I
with
throw
my
John under the bus in like day 2 when we're pretty well, they're evil, right? I mean, they're confirmed evil. Why would I throw them under the bus that early into the game and reveal myself with that role, right?
I don't see someone making that play if you're both evil.
Yeah. And also putting this one out for there as well. John went in blind, not quite realizing what Virgin did, and got caught wrong-footed there. If you remember that whole sequence.
There is also a chance, though, that John knew Amadeus was evil and so was wrong-footed by the whole thing when said, "I am the Virgin." Just like, wait, what? What's the Virgin do? Okay, what's the play here? That
Did
is a
somebody
possibility, and
nominate
that's
Amadeus,
what's
by the
making
way?
this really difficult.
I
The
can
nomination's
also-
not open yet.
I can also only give the information that I physically got. At the first point where it looked like I might have information that was relevant, I communicated it to the player that I trusted most, which was Nick, based on what the way of the game looked like it was going. That we have, if there's one person we can...
Mike, please, for the love of all that's holy, accuse Mike.
Can I
Can I
just throw
point something really
It's not me.
Ronnie, sorry, Ronnie, what
Yeah,
do you
Ronnie.
say?
And Professor afterwards.
So I just want to clarify, Engelbert, you got two people pinged as drunk to you, right?
Yep, correct.
And the first time and that was Vanjie and Will. So on one of those nights, if you are the Undertaker, it's possible that you were poisoned on the first night.
Or
As for putting that out, remember to spy. Remember, because drunk can turn up as the role that the spy is when they die.
Right.
Also-
Okay. Gotcha. Sorry.
Which I think
Nick,
is
what were you
potentially
saying?
more likely.
Yeah. Professor, what were you saying?
I was going to say, has anybody nominated Amadeus at any point?
Yes, he's been nominated.
yeah,
a couple of
Nick
times.
did before, yeah.
And I
And
think he was
so
nominated later
Me.
on as well, was he not? Yeah, Nick did.
Yeah,
Me
and so
nominating
Nick-
Amadeus doesn't do
Nick, you're
anything because I'm an outsider,
outsider.
so I don't get
Oh, okay,
executed.
so that won't kill you. Okay.
But he'd already been
It's only-
nominated by
it's
that
only
point
the
anyway.
first time
It's
anyway.
only
Yeah.
the first time.
Yeah, it's only the first time. Yeah.
Just to butt in, I think Count's tried to talk a couple of times and hasn't.
Oh, go on, Count. Yes.
Oh
so
no,
I'd
no,
like to hear from Count.
it's I don't know. Like Amadeus. I want to reiterate 1,000 times till I die. Hasn't done anything to directly clear themselves.
No, I'm not 100% clear. The only person who's 100% clear is Nick. I have done more, though, in terms of positive things, in terms of the play I did on day 2, in terms of using the Virgin ability against John, which, again, doesn't make sense if we're both evil, outing someone very, very early on. The fact that Viperoon protected me twice, at least claimed that, and I haven't, and then there were no deaths on those nights, when I was the one person who had outed their role, also works in my favor. Multiple things work in my favor here, not so many in terms of...
There is a
negative things that
situation.
brought up yesterday.
There is a situation. Stop. Let me just say one thing. There is a situation where you, John, and Viperoon are the three. No, you're the three. You caught John off guard, but it was a play to protect you to this point. There is a world where that happens.
That's what I've been saying.
But
there's a world
then,
where...
but then how easy is it to actually have two drunks turn up? Like, that feels really sus, that way, because unless one of those drunks is the spy.
No,
like,
because
that's
Viperoon can
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like you can have Amadeus being an imp, John being whatever, and then Viperoon being the Viperoon being the poisoner.
What turn did Vanjie die when? Viperoon die when Engelbert.
I protected Engelbert twice and was killed on the second protection. So I died night 5, not including the first night 4.
You died the same night that.
Directed to the stream. Who do you think it is?
Engelbert? No, I died before Engelbert did. So
I'm leaning more towards Mike.
That we killed.
There's not a way to bring up the death count, is there?
In fairness, my notes corroborate that and say you died night 5, from what I've been noting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I died night 4 apparently.
Yeah. Well, you didn't die night.
I'm still convinced Will was the drunk.
Right. I think it's time, guys. I think it's time for the nominations. Let's end this. So, three can nominate, three can be nominated. Who's going first?
I'm 60-40 towards Mike being the last evil person.
Amadeus, sink the dagger.
I would like to nominate Mike.
Okay, Amadeus. Anything to add to what you've already said?
So we know that Nick is good. It's between Amadeus, myself, and Mike, and I have done more, as I've been saying all the way through today and yesterday, to prove myself as good. Of course, it's not 100% clear, as Count has pulled me up on multiple times now. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
I used my virgin ability on that second day to get John. As you can see, we've got multiple ghosts voting for this too. I mean, it's important. Nice, but yeah, I think I think I've done more to help the team than I have to out myself. There was no information against me. The only stuff which came out was yesterday. So I think that's very late in the game for any stuff to be thrown on me. I don't really think that corroborates with too many people either.
If I could speak in my defense, I actually think Amadeus is very, very correct on a number of points there, and it doesn't, on a number of levels, make sense that some of the plays that they would be doing it to obfuscate them being evil. That being said, I know for a fact that I'm 100% not evil, and I have been passing information to Nick most of the game to try and support Town. However, as much as I not entirely convinced that Amadeus is necessarily evil, we've been making an awful lot of assumptions potentially about Nick's role in this game.
That's a very rogue one to throw at the end.
Exactly. I will point out we have to have had two outsiders.
Yeah.
Nick was the only one to come forward.
True.
As the recluse. No one else has been. We've got a drunk in play. So
It's
drunk
either-
plus one
either
outsider.
that.
No one else has come forward as an outsider. So it kind of has to be Nick.
Either that, or there's something that Amadeus has intentionally done to try and throw everybody off, and it's something that I'm
There are two
completely
scenarios.
missed.
There are two scenarios. Either it's like the long con with Amadeus, where he says, we're gonna kill off John. Viperoon is Viperoon's the imp, and then we're gonna switch the imp along, which is super difficult to pull off. And like, if you did that, well played. Otherwise, it's Mike.
Yeah,
It's
we
one of the
definitely didn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to run the vote, guys. 2 required. Here we go.
Professor and Count, please throw your votes on. There's no
Every
better
ghost,
alternative.
please help.
There's no reason to vote for this. There's already enough votes.
There is, in
because it
case
could get
the
tied.
evil throw in their ghost votes.
No, because the only evil are is John and.
Okay,
Vanjie.
yeah,
The
you're
Vanjie's
right.
used vote.
Yeah.
I'm not
So-
evil. I'm not evil.
At
Okay,
this point-
5 is enough. 5 is enough. Can that be beaten? 2, 3.
It can be tied.
5.
Which doesn't matter anyway. If
6.
it's
So it can be beaten. So let's continue. Do we have any other nominations?
I mean, I feel that I'm not even convinced this is right. I think something might have gone completely awry, and it could somehow be Nick, but I simultaneously can't see any way that it.
We've got.
I'm gonna have to nominate Amadeus. It's the only possibility I can see, but it's the only pathway to us not losing the game.
I'm gonna say if you
That's the point.
you have to convince me to vote with you against Amadeus, and currently I have no reason to do that after what you said in your defense previously. So
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Why-
think
The
Alex
only
is as well.
information I have to operate on is the knowledge that I am not evil. So therefore, it must be one of you.
Who's the outsider?
And I
then?
could not see in any conceivable way, genuinely, how it actually could be Amadeus unless he's played an absolute blinder. and
there is
completely-
there is a chance there. The chance is that it was him, John, and Viperoon,
Yeah.
and that he threw John under the bus to protect
Can I
himself.
do my defense, please?
Sorry.
Please do.
Yes. So obviously I did most of my defense kind of as my offense in the last vote, right? Particularly in terms of that vote on John, which is now kind of gone a lot of ways. John flicking the votes back and forth. And I think the other thing is actually that there is no way that Nick can be voted. And for Mike to
No.
then kind of throw up the suspicion on Nick in that last bit in the defense, that is so desperation. That sounds like desperation to me because there has to be 2 outsiders and no one else has come out as one.
If,
And,
if there is an outsider who hasn't revealed themselves, they've really screwed the good team.
Yeah, that could completely fuck
Remember,
everything
you
if
are
that sounds.
Count's vote.
Either
We have to assume people are
Either-
competent.
either it's Mike and I voted in that favor, or it's Amadeus and Mike screwed it by throwing the sus on me.
Yeah, Nick is literally the only pretty much verifiable. I mean, and again, there's...
In fairness, I wasn't throwing the sus on you directly. I was just intimating the possibility that I know it's not me, so it's one of you, and then trying to narrow down who it could possibly be.
I think it's
it's equally unlikely to be either of you, but Amadeus is just the only possibility.
I'm going to run the boat, guys. We've got 5 on Mike, 6 to execute Amadeus. Here we go.
I think it could be Amadeus, but there's just too much in
If it is, he's played a blinder.
Yeah, he's
John
not really...
voted for it. John's voted.
Yeah, John voted for it.
I want a hung vote.
Right, can't be it now.
A hung vote.
Guys, someone has to say it. Ooh.
Oh, however
it's another evil victory.
Everywhere I go.
However, this ends has been
If
fun.
it's not enough, Amadeus is about to be executed. Nick, do you intend to nominate yourself?
No.
Mike is about to execute.
Mike is about to get executed.
Mike's about to get executed.
Well done, you spotted the mistake, you won the prize.
You almost got it past us.
I went, huh?
Right, so Mike has been executed. The game is over. Congratulations, good team, for winning.
Yeah!
Oh my god.
We won.
It's a fair cop.
So
Wait, can I just wait? So, Professor, were you evil?
Yeah, I was shitting it.
So can I just say that thing I said at the beginning, where I said that the chef's information about there being 3 pairs was completely correct.
Completely right. That was it. Just poison
Mike and John. That's what I was trying to say.
I'm gonna do a roll call. I'm gonna do a roll call. Everything will be explained in due course. So we had. We'll start off with Theseus. Theseus was the Raven Keeper. Theseus was always the Raven Keeper. The Ravens never came home. Sad times for Theseus. The Count was the mayor. The Count was attacked once in the night, and I allowed it to go through because evil were getting fisted so hard. I just kind of had to allow it. So sorry, Count.
That's fine.
Your mayor ability didn't function, but I think you were pretty much believe most of the time. Viperoon was the monk. Now you're going to find this hard to believe, but Viperoon as the monk successfully protected someone once.
Oh man!
Yeah, wait, there's more coming. That will elaborate on that shortly. Will was the chef who got a 3. That 3 was John the Poisoner, Mike the Scarlet Woman, Nick the Recluse, and Professor the Imp.
I knew it. Count. What did I say?
Yeah.
Count. What did I say?
Of course, Amadeus the Virgin, who was nominated by the Poisoner and lost their ability. Engelbert! Oh my god! How much info did you get? That was insane. I don't think I've ever seen an Undertaker survive that long, especially now. Let me just... so, you got... So, this was actually really good. John, Poisoner, tanked it pretty early, but he actually, arguably, kept the evil team in the game for most of the game there, because on night 2, the night after you executed Will, he poisoned Engelbert. And because I knew that the professor was bluffing as the librarian who saw Will or Nick as the drunk, I showed Engelbert the drunk, which backed him up. And I think that really was like a big part of why the game kept going for a long time.
I had a read on Engelbert, and I was like, I've got 4 people here who could be the Undertaker potentially, and Engelbert, I just had a feeling, so I went in for it.
Wow, huge. Well, we actually said to each other in the separate chat, we wonder if they've had like a separate chat and they've given roles to each other or something, because that was a hell of a shot.
So what was that thing which happened?
So we've got
God Poisoner again.
Vanjie was the drunk, of course, the real drunk, which you
Hey, I'm either bad or drunk.
Yep. Okay, we had Professor as the demon, as the imp. Now let me just make sure I've got this right, because
Jesus Christ.
So on night 2, the first night he could kill someone, he chose to attack the dead Will. So no one died. On night
I told
2,
you a pacifist.
Yeah. Let me just make sure I've got my notes right here. So he attacked Will. Next, he was considering topping himself, but he decided instead.
He got talked down by the GM.
He decided to try and kill Amadeus, and that night Amadeus was protected.
T.Y. Will. T.Y.
Well done.
I got you.
Up next, he attacked Viperoon. No, not Viperoon.
Will again. I think it was.
I think you chose to attack Will again, right? Who was dead again.
Fuck you, Will!
Yeah. Then you finally finally got your kill on the count. Then you killed
Being a
Viperoon
devil.
after that, and then you executed Professor on the final day that the Scarlet Woman could become the Imp.
Ah,
And so Mike took
wow.
over
Yeah.
and Mike had a very difficult decision there. Nick, who is guaranteed good, or Engelbert, who's going to find out Professor's the Imp. I think you made the right choice there, Mike, because I think your only play there was to try and basically make the argument that was being made, which was that John, the poisoner, had deliberately colluded with Amadeus to make him look good and keep him alive till the end.
Yeah, which I knew was always
Which I
going to be a
gave
hard
you.
sell.
I
and
handed you that theory, and me being the good person, you have to just back me on it.
Vanjie was
which
convinced as
I
well.
thought the only way of making it plausible was throw so much doubt on everything as possible that people might buy it, because it was such a hard sell compared to me. I thought the odds of me not dying here are pretty much negligible, so I've got to go for a Hail Mary and just try and throw shade over everything.
I believe we had a ghost chat briefly as well, where basically we all went, Nick is definitely third imposter this game. just towards the end, it was like, yeah, I'm trusting Mike at this fortune teller stuff.
I wasn't trusting Mike though. I kept all the information of his I shared.
Could
I
have
was
fooled
super
me.
certain, and it didn't make sense at all. It didn't make sense.
In my defense, there were several scenarios where my information could have been legitimate.
Mike, I believed it up until
John's the poison's still in play as well. Made me doubt.
Okay. So
Just
I'll
really
go
quickly,
through how I was thinking.
John, just a second, mate. If that's all right. Just firstly, we'll call it an official close because we've gone on for like an hour longer than we ever
Thank you
have
so much,
before,
Ben.
So
Yeah.
if anybody,
thank you.
Thank you,
does
Tom.
make bounce, that's absolutely cool.
Ben.
But secondly, and most important, obviously everyone feel free to stick around and talk for as long as you want to in this Discord. It is open to you all. Huge thanks to Ben for coming in and being
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Cheers, Ben.
Great work. I can't believe you pulled that drunk play for us. That was so irritating.
So I poisoned Vanjie night one, not knowing he was a drunk, obviously, and then realised there was so much conflicting information with Viper and Theseus, and then the correct read from the chef, Will. And so I went with Engelbert because I had a feeling he was going to be maybe the Undertaker, and I was hoping that. And then when I had that confirmed on day 3, I knew that we now had 2 people who were being read as drunk. So when it came to me screwing up and taking the bait and accusing Amadeus, like I was immediately like, oh, I can just say Amadeus might be the drunk. But then I realised that would throw off Vanjie and Will, and I needed to keep that going. So I figured I can actually do more work here if nobody trusts me, and I'm a known entity, and I just fucking give myself up, wait a little bit, drag someone off into a room, have a nice little chat, don't say anything, and then nobody will trust them for the next few days.
That's brilliant, actually. That's brilliant.
Me and Count popped that theory that it was those 3 and Nick from the very beginning. That was one of the first things we actually ever said. And
But by the way, Mike, I
Good to
think
know.
I believe like the theory that Amadeus was the whole very elaborate theory where it was but they killed John. I honestly convinced myself of that right up until the moment where I said nominate Professor and you didn't. It should have.
In fairness, somebody else jumped in and did it before me. I was well poised to.
So my whole problem was when I came with the imp was just like I'm terrible at lying and I'm not very deceitful. So I was just like, oh no, I do. I'm like, this is the worst possible, and like and I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna be terrible at this. So I wanted to top myself early on so I could pass on to somebody else. I was quietly paying attention to who was the most devious person in the game and pass it to them. And like so that was my plan, and then thankfully that didn't happen because the Scarlet Witch thing was in place. So that was handy. But no, it was a really tough call to do. But so my second plan was if I don't say or do anything, could just let everybody turn themselves apart. I don't have to be devious. So
It made you super sus. It made you so sus.
When you gave your reasoning, your line of reasoning.
Evil had 2 in the last 5, so fair play.
Yeah. No, you did pretty well, but like when you gave your reasoning of I don't want to kill anyone and stuff, like I think I was the only person.
That's actually true.
No, but I think I was the only person who maintained that was a completely illogical line of reasoning, which was meant the only outcome is either you're super bad and you're torpedoing the team, or you are evil.
I think, Professor, the one mistake, or it's not really a mistake, but the one thing that kind of screwed you over was you also confirmed Will being a drunk, right? I think that's the one thing, because when I got a double evil ping, where I thought that doesn't make any sense. And that's when the game started going a little bit more in favor for the town.
I think,
I think just quickly that there were two main things in terms of for the evil side, which probably stitched them up more than anything. I don't know what Ben thinks about this, but one was John essentially going, "Yeah, fair cop, you got me." Because if he comes out and defends himself there, and is like, "No, I am town. He's obviously not the Virgin." Amadeus is literally sus for the rest of the game, and rather than going, "Oh yeah, we've actually got an evil because of this," and also that's the potential not guaranteed with other roles. So I mean, even if you come up out at that point, and go, "No, I'm Slayer," and even if it's a bad lie and most people don't believe you, there's that little bit of extra doubt on Amadeus as the Virgin play.
I think it made it more fun for being up against it as evils, though. I really enjoyed that. I literally have notes in front of me where I have 3 separate fake wills, two of which are crossed out because they got claimed by other people, and it pushed me into fortune teller.
By the way,
I like how we came into this.
Trying to kill you.
We came into this game literally with this meme like, haha, what if Viperoon is the monk, and the fact that he is the monk. I said that so much. I was like, can you imagine if he's not the monk? That's so
I will
funny.
say that Count and Ronnie got they got it bang on actually, because the first.
Well done, Count.
But yeah,
Count, you scared me off early on.
Sorry about that was my wife.
Yeah, I do think the fact that Count was super sus towards me at the last couple of days as well, with the semantics, made it pretty close to. Again, I wasn't fully clear. It was people have put things in my favor, was kind of what I was saying. But it got pretty close.
I was really terrified that you turned out to be the villain, because I was like, people are not looking at you properly. They're just taking you at your word.
The thing.
No, again, I didn't use the right semantics, but yeah.
There's a really great video out there which Ben did with another group about a week or so. Well, I don't know when you record it, but it came out about a week or so ago, where the exact play that Count was proposing that maybe Amadeus made is actually exactly what they did. So there was a spy, and they realized who was what, and so they basically made this entire Virgin play. It almost swung the game for evil, but this time they caught it and believed it. It was amazing.
Oh boy.
The thing that got me was my version of the game wasn't working, so I wasn't assigned my role on there. So I was just standing the first night I was trying to go in and out, trying to get it. I finally got in, but I couldn't click anything. I couldn't make notes on there, but I could vote. And Stan was like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, can you just tell me the role?" And Stan was like, "Oh, you're the monk," and I was like, "Nah, you're fucking me." Monk, and I was like,
meme.
What colour were your tokens, Viperoon?
They were all the brown,
Yeah, you've got to press G.
Are you on day mode?
You flipped everything.
We told we during one of the nights we said this. If you press G, you can flip it up. If you press N, you can see the night order.
My issue there is I occasionally run to the toilet while we're at night.
Oh, okay.
By the way, Ben. I said this before, but you weren't around. I'm really impressed with his side, because today we realized, you can press N, you can press V, you can have. We didn't realize this.
That was the bit of that was hey guys, everyone press V. You can see who's nominated who in previous nights. Everyone went, whoa!
I wish I could take credit for this, but actually, we call this the Brain Tool, and it's designed by a guy who we know as Brain, who's just a fan of the game. And he's made it so that kind of the unofficial way to play during lockdown. But yeah, we only own, or we only operate the tabletop version, which is still in production. We're still finishing up the last bits of design for it at the moment. But, this is an incredible free tool. To be honest with you, it's pretty scary, because now if we want to develop a digital version of it, we've got to do something that's absolutely amazing, because
you have a high bar.
That, or you hire this guy and say, "Do you want to get it on this?"
Oh yeah, well, it's crossed our mind, but I think the problem with that then is it's if we purchase this off this guy, we then kind of go, "Hey, so we've made we own this now, and you've got to pay us for it, even though it was free 5 minutes ago." so we've got a bit of a decision to make there. But hey, thanks a lot for having me down, guys. I really enjoyed that.
Cheers, it's been really good. Thank you.
If you ever want to try out any of the more advanced scripts, I'm happy to run them for you. Just hit me up.
Oh, thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
helping me be evil, by the way, Ben.
Promote the game at all? Tell people where they can buy the actual physical version if they want to.
Oh yeah, I should probably do that, shouldn't I? That's the thing.
Damn.
Production was in my ear.
So we are still taking late pledges on CrowdDocs. If you enjoyed that, you can go and be a late backer there. You will get the retail release version. It's $100, which is like, I don't know, probably an entire barony in England at this point with the way the pound's going. I'll put it in general. So yeah, do by all means go ahead and purchase it. I should probably put that in the you can link that in the Twitch channel if you're feeling generous. But yeah, thanks a lot for having me. I'm gonna go and drink some more booze now, but I'll see you all hopefully again sometime.
That is
it is.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Happy boozing.
Catch you later.
Cheers.
Is there a world where if I hadn't come out as a recluse and I wasn't alive still at that point because you executed me, that we still won?
Actually, I now
I'm not sure.
see
Would've been
the
hard.
value of the
The recluse can be so
Yeah.
strong.
Because
now I
there's
see
only
the
so many
value of the
outsiders.
recluse.
Because there's only so many outsiders. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
I
as
don't
long as- as
know.
long
I
as
think
you're
that
in the
might have
thing-
been
So if I get
outlier.
recluse again, you're not
Because
going to kill
everyone
me, right?
trusted you.
What was that?
It only
If I
worked
get
because everyone
recluse again,
trusted
you're not going to kill me.
I think it was the thing where I was sus on Nick a little bit, until we were getting to like 6-5 people, until after I died basically.
Oh, a
Then
recluse
it got to
being
the point where, like-
left alive really late
Yeah.
is, and where we're getting so much information from everywhere.
Yes.
It's like at this point, I am 100% the only
So-
trustworthy
Yeah.
pound.
So why did you become so trustworthy? I can't remember the point at which
So-
everyone was like,
so-
oh,
so
yeah,
the
no,
reason-
you
the
really
reason-
are the recluse.
So the general rule is there are only so many types of character. Right? You've got your evil, you've got your demon,
Mhm.
you've got your minions, which are two of generally. You have your townsfolk, which are a lot of.
So
which
it
makes
was
things
just because
tricky.
no one else was an outsider and no one else owned up.
So,
yeah.
we had like, okay, so we got a drunk and a recluse, and nobody else has come forward as an outsider. So there's no one even conflicting, saying, "Yo, there's 3 outsiders." So there's a.
So
balance there,
if you had said, if your defense to Amadeus had been, "You're not the virgin,"
I'm the saint.
Because I'm the
and
saint,
I'm the
yeah.
saint,
Or the
and then
butler.
it's like, well, hang on.
Or could
Hang on,
Mike,
we've got a fucking confusion
Could-
here.
could
Yeah.
Mike have claimed to be an outsider instead
Yes,
of?
It would have been a bit
he
late.
could've.
He could have been
Yes,
late. It would have
but
been
I
very
think
late.
it would have been extremely risky, and it would have
Mhm.
just created a situation
He-
where, if best case scenario, Nick gets killed to confirm, Graveyard Dude confirms he was an outsider, and then I don't.
Graveyard dude.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I will
You
say.
hang out there a lot.
of
You all
gatekeepers-
kept your trust in Engelbert so much. I was
On behalf
sure
of
you guys.
gatekeepers,
Yeah, I wasn't sure on them
I
for a
was so
long
sure
time,
you guys would think he was drunk after he'd like given 2
Yeah.
drunk calls. I'm like, hang on.
Yeah.
We'll as a game master will very very rarely say that the recluse is the recluse to the Undertaker. You all kept talking about if we kill Nick, we'll get a feed from
Yeah.
the Undertaker, and myself and Ben were just like, no, they won't.
No.
No,
Yeah, but
you're going to get an evil ping off me.
I think I even said it. Like, if we kill Nick and we get an Undertaker, the Undertaker doesn't do anything because we still don't.
Well,
know
this is the
if
thing.
we're
Like,
bad.
what I could have done
Doing
is
the
said,
best.
like, well, nominate me. If you don't die, you're either evil or an outsider, and that's what I did to John instead.
The only reason that Mike couldn't do the outsider play is because he opened the whole game by saying, if you're an outsider, come forward now. If you're not, it's going to be super sus later. If you hadn't opened the game like that, you could have fallen into, well, I'm the saint and I've been keeping quiet because I don't want to be executed.
Well, yeah. Also, that's also a good point. If I then came out as an outsider later, I'd have been contradicting what I said earlier.
But
So I-
you
I
didn't,
gotta
you
say,
didn't reveal
John and
your
Mike
role.
were superb at being evil.
I kind of because I think you could have gone
Thanks
very,
so much
very.
for the game. It's nice to finally win as town.
Nice.
Like,
See you again.
Cheers.
Alright,
Just before
excellent
anybody
game,
else
everyone.
disappears, can I just quickly say, it was great having Ben here and clearly
Yeah.
super professional with what he does. If anyone has any things that they really like that we did tonight that we maybe do differently when I've been running it, I would legitimately love to hear any critiques and things that I can improve. going
Chat
forward.
liked
So-
the rundown of the game at the end.
we do that anyway.
We did that anyway.
But
We do
yeah,
that anyway.
I think he did a better, more detailed version than I did, but yeah, cool. I'll do
Thank
that
you
a bit
again
more.
for organising, Stan.
No,
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
Dan, thanks.
Yeah,
This
it's really good.
This is,
Yeah.
this is really cool. I'm looking every week. I'm looking forward to doing this now. It's
One day,
It's not
Stan,
his
you'll have to
background, so he's
play
giving me
and
life.
someone else will have to story tell. I don't mind doing that for you one time.
I
don't-
honestly, I was serious when I said it was a pain for me to hand over power earlier.
What I will say potentially is like I think where
hell's
stuff
going on
showed
with
was
that
obviously
green
Ben just knows the game really well.
So well.
Storytelling.
So well.
So it's sort of things like how he manipulates information for the players is just that slightly bit slicker. It's like, okay, I'm going to make sure everyone goes to the drunk because that helps this team.
That's
just experience.
But I think that's experience. I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's not anything super obvious to fix.
And also, what you don't know is that we had a chat beforehand. So basically, when there were splinter groups, we would intentionally keep one of us in each.
Yeah.
Obviously, when there are like multiple rooms, we can't do it. But when there's like 2 rooms, let's say, or 3 rooms, we're in most of them.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, for instance, I would, because I'd normally stick with the town or maybe go in on one conversation, I wouldn't have known that there was the claim from the professor, usually because it'd just be just me. And so I wouldn't have known to make that person drunk because he'd said, oh, I'm librarian and I've seen this. As a result, he was actually able to give a really good read for Martin to give him a really good fighting chance early on.
To be fair, one of the nice things is I came up and I said, look, I'm a bit nervous about this because, I'm pretty certain I'm going to suck as the imp. And I was just like, any hints or tips you can give me would be really appreciated. So yeah, I mean, in the later game, I was definitely relying on Mike and John there to sort of do the evil stuff for me, because it's like, it's one of those things I can't get my head around, if that makes sense. It's just a bit difficult for me. So,
I think you worked with me just like killing myself really well.
We had like an elaborate plan and everything where we'd agreed a duress phrase where if Professor said a specific thing, I was to vote him up and get him killed.
I've run out of beer. That was going to be my phrase.
No, I was.
Nick, I thought the cat behind you was fake, and then it started moving. I genuinely thought it was like a statue, and then I saw it start looking. I was like, wait, what?
Professor, I was super terrified of being evil as well.
You would have done the same for me. So it's not like it was something that Ben would have done that you wouldn't have done. It's just like I just found that really, really helpful.
He was legitimately great. And like I said, I've really enjoyed it. Next week, I'll put it down as Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. again. Something that I've said to a couple of you, if you have other groups that you want to play with, like your social groups or whatever, and you need someone to come in as GM who's got, admittedly, not as much practice as Ben, but a decent amount now, I would be very happy to run games for literally anyone, because I really enjoyed this, and I haven't got much until the 29th.
You're very good at it, Stan. Thank you.
You're our favourite. Don't tell the other guy.
On the other side of things, what I really like is like your whole like dramatization of all the murders and the executions.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Who else was sad that we didn't get a stand-up on the first night?
Yeah. I'm kind of sad we don't get that today.
I'm sad we don't get a stand-up on the first night.
I think Ben would have done that, except the game dragged so much for so many non-devs that he was literally just trying to speed through it, so we didn't go to midnight.
No, I think he judged again. Like, no, Ben is great at what he does, right? And I think he judged the pace well.
Also, he's probably listening to this on stream, so
I'd imagine so.
No. Again, this is the thing. I sat there. I'm just like, I'm sure the more that you do it, the better you'll get. That's just a habit of DMing, GMing, whatever kind of thing you do, right? I don't think. I mean, I think in terms of like tips to give from this thing, in terms of stuff he did and you didn't. I can't think of too much stuff, honestly. Again, it's probably just the experience to know like the key places to manipulate information. That's probably it.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to work on.
I would say.
To be fair, I've gone to him with the last couple of games and said, I did this, town keeps losing, do you think I'm doing something wrong? And he's been like, no, not really. So yeah.
Sorry, no wins dumbasses.
The talking between rounds helped a lot because I think previously there had been a lot of downtime where it's just like sitting there doing nothing. So I think talking between is a lot better than not talking between.
I think Evil might have won if we hadn't had that those things happening.
Yeah, so you.
Well, there was definitely one of the breaks you guys you literally figured it out during one of the nights.
It's just more time, yeah.
The rules, as I've been told them, is that like chatter is allowed in terms of like this is happening. Often they'll have like random jokes that are being said during their streams, but you're not allowed to talk gameplay at all during the night.
Oh, not allowed to talk gameplay at all, because we were definitely talking gameplay.
That's been what has happened in the games that I've sort of seen. I could be wrong on that.
Okay.
But Ben, like instantly, as soon as he realised you guys have been like talking about stuff, he's like, no, don't do that.
Okay,
he said we
because Engelbert giving us the information each night was kind of like, okay, I don't think this.
Well, he did it one night, right?
I think we would have found out. I suppose we wouldn't have found out that information had he been dead. No, we would have still found it out anyway, wouldn't we?
No, he would have been dead. He wouldn't have received it.
I even went hard on it because every night I was muting myself and then unmuting myself and then going like, "Oh, that's interesting" or something like that to make it look like I was receiving information from the.
And actually, to be fair, later on the game, I stopped using Discord mute because I thought if I keep using Discord mute, it's going to be sus. Because obviously I was making sure I was muted every single game, so I was actually muting myself on my sound card.
Nick, what is that light on your face?
It's when I mute the mic.
Ah.
And then you can. And you can't see it because the cameras are off.
Terminator, it's here.
All right, I'm gonna leave because I need to get up fairly early in the morning. But it's been great playing, you guys.
We still actually haven't done dinner yet. We had a late lunch, but
oh dear.
Yeah.
Good night, Count.
Good night, everybody.
It's been a pleasure as
Sam?
always.